This week in games, the Game Awards happened. Let's talk about winners, losers, everything announced, and the fallout from the show. This is the Two Penny Gamescast. What's poppin', players? Welcome back to the Two Penny Gamescast, episode 279. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friend and professional as always. Say hello to the people, Connor Elliott.
I am always, that's not true. But in this case, I was unprepared. You can't cold open like that.
I can't cold open. We've been sitting here ready to record for like 10 minutes.
But I didn't have the dock open.
We were sitting here talking about how you love Asmongold for like 5 minutes.
I have that. Oh, you bitch. I don't even want. See, you're a twister. You have to twist things.
I'm just saying,
twist
man.
things.
You said it. You said, and I quote, he's right all the time.
I misspoke and said a lot of the time, which is wrong, I will say.
He's wrong.
Broken clock type thing.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I saw, oh my God. The people are stupid, Connor. The people are stupid. Recently, somebody went viral on TikTok for thinking glasses had medicine in them because they are a prescription. So they thought the glasses had medicine in them.
I can't really blame them.
No, you can blame them for that. That's stupid. But I saw another one that said, "How is a broken clock right twice a day? I don't understand." And then they showed a picture of an analog clock smashed, and I was like, "You don't understand that the clock is pointed at 250, so twice a day it is correct because at twice a day it is 250." You don't know.
You proved it right there.
People are stupid, Connor.
Okay. You have to give those people some leeway.
No, I don't.
You do, because here's what they're being. They're being inquisitive. That's why you have so many bad faith actors like Asmongold who then use that inquisitiveness to twist it for their own nefarious purposes. And then you actually get to like Nick Fuentes and the real worst things.
Okay, you know what? Okay. But you know what? You got me.
All it takes is you, Tavin.
But they have to be inquisitive.
Of course, yes. Of course. That's that's why it's a thing that can be twisted easily, but you have to have it.
It's not like my TikTok and Instagram comments, which are still on fire.
I get it. Well, maybe they were like that at one point. They were just a guy who was asked questions.
I don't know. I
got molded.
I got told to get good a whole lot.
Well, you should get
from a video in which I talked about how I beat the game.
You didn't beat the DLC. You had to abandon it.
I could do it.
Did you though?
I didn't, but I could.
So you haven't really proved them wrong, have you?
Well, maybe if Dark Souls was a better game.
Can't even say that about what you failed at.
Those are great boss fights. Those are great boss fights. I didn't beat them, though. They were hard.
They were hard.
Yeah. That fucker in the darkness. Oh, my God.
Yeah,
he never lets me go. Leave me alone.
By the way,
yeah,
relevant for the lore of Dark Souls 2. Keep that in mind.
I'll make sure to think about that, Connor.
Or it's the best.
Much like how I'll think about how this is the Two Penny Gamescast. Each week, me and Connor come to you with the nerdy news you need to know concerning the video game industry. We each come to you with two topics, two pennies, if you will, and we give you our 2 cents on them. However, that's not happening this week for reasons I'll get into in a minute. You, ladies and gentlemen, can, of course, catch this show live every Monday afternoon over at twitch.tv/2pennygames, where we record all of our podcasts live. So make sure you hop into the Twitch chat, follow us on Twitch, and join us in the conversation so that you can get your live reactions, your live input, your own 2 cents put into the show live. You know what I'm saying? Much like how I will bring in comments into the show. However, there's no comments this week. They're all still talking about how I'm an idiot for calling Dark Souls ableist because it doesn't have a pause button. They're saying a bunch of things that don't make me wrong, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like the AI conversation with the Shroud video we were talking about.
Yeah. There were some AI conversations, too, because that video also went up. The comment reaction from the week before. But not as much. That video didn't do what I want, which tells me the Arc Raiders moment is over.
It seems like it is.
It's over.
Yeah.
Which, tough.
Very tough.
Real tough. Anyways, where was I going with that? Of course, if you can't watch us live, you can catch the recordings that go live over on youtube.com/@2pennygames and mainstream podcast services of your choice every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Central Time. Make sure you also follow and subscribe to our Substack, where we read all of our own written news articles here live on the show, written by our very own Connor Elliott, TwoPennyGamesNews.substack.com. There's nothing up there this week. Why? Because Connor's a lazy bum.
To a degree.
To a degree. Half
Not
in,
this time.
half
Not this
in.
time.
I mean,
There wasn't anything until the end.
If you took it seriously, you'd still be right.
I would, yeah, but not about that.
But it's not what we're talking about. There's nothing we're talking about. What are we going to talk about? Fucking marathon is coming March 2026. Whoopee!
You also forgot. Actually, the only piece of big news was, who was it? Ubisoft Montreal being bought by someone. Was bought by someone.
I don't think I didn't see that. Of course, I did see the Doom developers, id Software, unionized.
That was the other thing. Yes,
congratulations to them. Congratulations.
I'll look more into that story and talk about it next week.
They did it the same day as they won their game award for best accessibility.
Oh shit! Hey,
for them.
Damn, they won big. Maybe they're the biggest winners in like the
Maybe
moral sense. Yeah.
Are they the biggest winners? No. Anyways, but of course we're gonna get all into that. Go ahead.
I'll read the VGC article title without reading into it. Of course, Ubisoft acquires Amazon Games Montreal team, marking the return of Rainbow Six Siege's director.
Okay.
Yes, we'll see where that goes.
All right, we'll see what happens there
with Ubisoft and what they're doing.
Ladies and gentlemen, of course, there won't be the usual 2-penny segment where we go through each and every topic because it's all under the one big giant umbrella that is the Game Awards. The Game Awards 2025 happened this last week. We, of course, predicted the winners and the announcements 2 weeks ago, and we have the results.
We are in.
The scores have been tallied, ladies and gentlemen. I took the notes. I did the research. I did the counting. All right?
Yep.
There were winners and losers all throughout the night.
Oh, so
all right? We, of course, we made you, me, and Phil. You, Phil, and I, to be grammatically correct. Hi, Mom. You know what's funny? My mom often watches the show, and I went back and watched last week's episode, and not even 5 minutes in do I make a joke about coming in your ass. And then I watched that, and I went, Mom watches the show, so she hears me say these things. I'm like, it is what it is. But
you're a perverted individual.
I'm gonna stop. We predicted each of the categories, at least the ones we care about. We didn't predict anything with the esports. Nothing with that. All right. I'm sorry. Esports, we don't care. But y'all don't care either, if I'm honest. So from content creator of the year up, basically, we predicted for all of those. And it's very, very funny, Connor. Because off of those predictions, the scores are, and of course, you can get 2 points per category based off of what you're personally voting for and then what you expect to win, The numbers read as follows. In last place, based only, not off the predictions of announcements, just off predictions of winners, all right? In last place is you.
I hate you!
I'm sorry. I mean, you did it to yourself. I don't know what to say.
I did, because I wasn't so boring like you guys, constantly clicking Clear Obscure for everything, because that's the only game you guys played this year. I played games, okay? I diversified.
You know what's funny, Connor? In one category where you expected a game that wasn't Expedition to win, it's for a game you didn't even play.
I'm a worldly man. I know things beyond my own.
Best game direction.
Tastes.
Best game direction. You said you voted for Expedition and said Death Stranding 2 would win. You were wrong.
I was wrong.
It was Expedition 33. Anyways, you are in last place with 28 points.
28.
In second place.
That was 27.
Oh, that was before, but I was speaking from memory. It was 28. In second place was me with 30 points. In first place, with 33 points, a young Phil Shoemaker.
You were wrong on 2 accounts.
Well, Connor, of course, because I'm not adding the points that we gained from announcements, in which we each gave 3 predictions for things that would be announced. And of course, depending on how you word your thing, you can gain anywhere from 0 to a total of 3 points. So if you're only like partially right about something, you can get 1 point or maybe 2 points, depending on how right you are, depending on how you phrase it. And of course, I am the only one who got points off of predictions of announcements. All right? I'm the only one. Because I predicted, Connor, Microsoft announces a new game coming to PlayStation 5. It'll be a shadow drop, and it's the Master Chief Collection. Now, of course, if you watched the Game Awards, you were aware that the only thing I got right there was that Microsoft announces that a new game is coming to PlayStation 5. It was not a shadow drop, and I am wrong about the game. It was South of Midnight. South of Midnight's coming to PlayStation 5. Cool.
That's good.
I also got a point for Remedy is premiering their new game, and I said it was going to be the Max Payne remake. It was not the Max Payne remake. It was Control
Oh,
something with an R.
Resonance?
Resonant. Yes, Control Resonant. So I got a point for Remedy, and I got a point for Microsoft putting a game on PlayStation. So that gives me an extra 2 points, Connor, which of course closes the gap between me and Phil from 30-33 to 32-33. So regardless, Phil still won. Congratulations, Phil, for winning this year, but only by a 1 point differential.
And because Tavin
It's a tight
point
race.
scrounges, he gets a little point. I'm going to award it so I can get 3 points for most categories.
Guys, you're mocking me, but you did the same thing.
But I don't do it so broad.
You were just wrong.
I don't do it as broadly.
What
I'm
is broad
hyper-focused.
about Microsoft is bringing another game to PlayStation and Remedy is premiering their new game?
With points?
What is broad about that?
compared
I picked specific studios and I picked specific platforms.
Of course, Microsoft's going to bring a game to PlayStation.
Well, when you sell consoles like this, why
You
would
have
you?
to.
You know what I'm saying?
Obligated.
Connor, get into these award winners. All right. Of course, throughout the night, we were taking in all of the game awards winners. Let's start with the ones we care about. I'm sorry, esports, we don't care about you. I want to care about you, but we just don't. And Connor, I'm just going to kind of run through some of these, and then we'll stop where we feel we want to stop. You hear
say
me?
something.
Content Creator of the Year, Moist Critical. Congratulations. I had a funny video of him reacting where he was like, please don't let it be me. And then it was him. And he went, all right, well, thanks, I guess. Funny thing. Most anticipated, Grand Theft Auto 6, the most obvious answer ever. Best adaptation. This one we thought could have gone a couple of different ways, but you were the only one who had it right on the money. It was The Last of Us Season 2. HBO's The Last of Us Season 2. One for best adaptation. Not a Minecraft movie, and not Until Dawn, which, as we know, is a better movie than Sonic 3.
It's not on there, so clearly.
They got nominated, and Sonic 3 didn't. You know, best multiplayer, Arc Raiders, slightly expected, but we also thought it could be Elden Ring, it could be Battlefield, but Arc Raiders. So congratulations to Arc Raiders for winning something.
Let's stop there.
Yeah,
let's not congratulate him too much because I know we've kind of gotten some flack, but it's minuscule overall. But
we're on the right side of history.
We are, of course.
Yeah.
But they use AI to a degree. That should just not from a people in the industry standpoint should have immediately been like, well, put it up there because it's one of the big games. We're not going to vote for this, right? And then everyone says, agreed. So it's actually pretty pathetic. This is the worst category decision because all the other ones, you might disagree with it. This is the only one where it's like, you have zero reason to have done this. And I think part of it also is because of our error. We are the same thing we were wrong about, which is that the popularity of it, the love for it was greater than it actually is. I know it's popular, of course.
The conversation is bigger than the actual hard facts because, of course, they were nominated in the player vote and they got knocked out first round.
Yes.
Which of course, the player vote went to Wuthering Waves.
Well,
which is just more proof to everybody that the people should not be voting.
A lot of accusations have, of course, been about botted voting because if I know with Genshin they've done this, well, there's actually a reason why. Because they did it with Genshin. They might do it with Wuthering Waves. Where
Chinese games also just really popular in China, and China has a lot of people in it. So.
That is true, but I again going back to Genshin, I think when they won an award, they were like re-roll for a character, and so the moment that's on the table,
well, I mean that's on them to do that.
It is,
motivate your base to vote for you.
I'm saying this is like bots, also not it's not real, it's not like Three Houses winning best player choice in 2019.
Now, Connor. Back to the best multiplayer. Now, I agree with you from an integrity standpoint, but from an objective standpoint, Arc Raiders was one of the best. It was probably the best multiplayer game in that category.
But the counter to that is both in terms of sales, how big it was, and quality, which is Battlefield 6. I can attest to that from the beta. That's the only real other one that I think was a challenger to it. I mean, it beat Call of Duty. Arc Raiders, those kinds of games are always going to exist in a space where they're able to be successful in their own right. The whole thing with Battlefield is it's always compared to Call of Duty. And the fact that it beat it, I think, is more substantial alone than the other aspects of Arc Raiders, which then again, that's a game that came out recently. I mean, so you only hear the buzz around it because it's the new hot thing. Battlefield 6 is going to continue, is going to keep staying alive. Arc Raiders could, but it could also next year.
I mean, I don't think Battlefield's with the current year that it competed against Call of Duty. I don't think Battlefield beating out Call of Duty is that impressive.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, you had to wait for your biggest competition to be on the weakest knee possible, or on the weakest foot possible to beat them out. All right, you couldn't have done that last year.
Oh yeah,
so it is what it is. I'm just glad that you agree with me that Elden Ring Night Rain not a good multiplayer game.
saying like what did I vote for? Huh? What did I vote for?
You voted for Elden Ring.
Yeah, so sure.
I also voted for Elden Ring.
Best multiplayer.
Best sports, Mario Kart World. Come on, we're better than this.
Even the hype on that was not as good as it was.
Yeah, everybody went, all right, cool, whatever. Best sim/strategy, Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles.
Yep.
Best family game, Donkey Kong Bonanza. Best fighting game, this was one of the 3 categories that nobody got it right. Nobody predicted correctly, and that was, of course, Fatal Fury.
No, it's Garo City of Wolves.
But Fatal Fury or something.
Wasn't it Garo?
No, it's like, no, that's the subtitle. What you're saying is the subtitle. Yeah, but it's the series of Fatal Fury.
Yeah, I guess so.
Best RPG.
By the way, I guess I will say one thing. Super happy that won. I didn't think it would. That's why I didn't vote for it.
Okay.
I should have probably said, maybe I was point scrounging for that one. Probably was.
I don't know.
All right, carry on.
Well, didn't help you.
Did not.
No. Best RPG, Expedition 33. You wanna get something off about Expedition beating over KCD2? Okay, go ahead.
I guess my issue.
This is your moment.
It is my moment, and this is kind of an issue I think is going
to be granted this grace later.
That's fine. The persistent. Oh yeah, of course, because it depends on the category. It makes sense why Claire won. Spoiler alert: as many awards as it did. Most of them are justifiable. There's 2 that I remember off the top of my head where wasn't really. One of them is art direction. Sorry,
we'll get there.
But mainly RPG, because sure, it's a bigger game. You can even argue very reasonably it's a better game than Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. But definitively, from an RPG perspective, even though the elements of Claire are great, I see it being greater in Kingdom Come Deliverance.
So let's get into that, and we'll talk about categories and how the Game Awards worked later.
General,
but let's focus in on that. Your argument is that KCD2 is a better RPG
role-playing
game than Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Now, for that we have to define what is an RPG.
Yes,
for me. In my personal example, it's a little bit of like porn, when you see it type shit. But for me, the main thing for me with RPGs is when the character sheet or the equivalency of the character sheet is a main component of the gameplay.
Yes, that's the big thing, I think.
You're opening up a menu, you're messing with numbers, you're seeing stats go up and down, and bonuses get attributed and so forth. You're equipping things to do different things. Like, you're spending a good amount of time in the character sheet, in the menu, and then that affects your gameplay like that.
See, and that's the thing I focus on because I know I brought this up when we were talking about the nominations and justifying why we think what should win. Of course, I was at the time saying Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 definitively, but on the gameplay side of things, it's where I kind of balked maybe in that video, where I was like, well, there's so much customization and making your build in Claire Obscure, not to any point that's superior to that of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. In fact, that's the area as far as what an RPG is. They're pretty neck and neck. It's the problem of all of the other elements that would make up an RPG. For example, one of the things you've criticized with it is it has its own little, like, in Claire, romance subplot, where you romance somebody.
Well, the relationship system in general, where they give you a level up, and your level has increased, your bond has increased with these characters. And I mean, they do a thing where like you get like mechanics off of that, which is great. That's probably what I'm looking for. But I think it's probably Claire Obscure's most underbaked system.
Yeah. And to that point, there is
the romance, particularly, I think is bad.
Yes, and the RPG element of choosing your romance, that's actually also available in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. League's better. Like, way better.
I assume more traditional of, like, you're basically just flirting with a person, and then they'll reciprocate, and then you'll probably do a quest for them, and then they're ready to bone.
Yeah, if you want to go down that path. You still get very clear decisions on that. And it works very effectively in the position of the narrative. Like, it makes sense as being an element of it, whereas with Claire, it doesn't. Not to mention, I feel like it has, of course, going into, this is kind of where it's able to cheat, where there's a lot more decisions in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 than Claire Obscure Expedition 33. But not just like on a surface level. I mean, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 really goes in to what decisions you can make, the kinds of quests that pop up as well, which the side content is just more baked into the course of the game as you're playing it. Whereas Claire, you have clear moments where you're like, I'm not going to do side stuff. I'm just going to go straight for the next plot point. And I think that's again, focusing solely on what an RPG is, that makes Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 ultimately more of a RPG, a hardline RPG game than Clair Obscur. Not by a great deal, but enough to where it should win the category.
Right.
When Clair Obscur is winning everything else for categories that I have no complaints or no criticism of why it won that one.
Right. And to the point of main quests, side quests, and things, I agree with you. I got a little bit of hesitancy when you bring in like dialogue choices and making narrative decisions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand that is an element in a lot of RPGs, and it does greatly contribute to what an RPG can be. And just from like an optics perspective, when you hear role-playing game, oh well, I'm playing a role.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
And so you think almost like an actor putting on the role of a thing. I'm making choices. I'm playing the role of the character, right?
Yes.
That's not what RPG actually means.
Yeah.
But it gets construed as that a lot of the time. Because to me, like, then that puts Dispatch in the RPG category. Dispatch is not an RPG.
True. And that's where it's more about the side quests themselves. And I guess actually in-game systems, I think it's a bit superior with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Even though I love the Picto system.
Pictos is so great.
It is great. The upgrade tree.
I would say almost, if not as good, almost as good as the materia system from Final Fantasy VII.
It's pretty goddamn amazing.
Yeah.
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has a bunch of different, is a more traditional skill tree in terms of you have like your survival skills, your combat, where you can well armor.
Yeah.
But the upgrades aren't just generic, increase your points by this much, even though there is some of that. It changes like how effectively you're able to do basic tasks in a variety of different ways. I'm trying to remember.
Like speeding up animation speeds? Or?
Yeah, like that thing. Like you do certain things quicker.
Or this thing does bleed damage now or something like
Not
that.
even that
or the
stuff.
Equivalency or heavy attacks can now wound or something and it'll like break bones or something?
Yeah, and in a way it kind of does. Like you can, of course, make them get scared if you
okay.
like brutally kill a character.
Yeah.
It kind of introduces that element into it. Of course, like
the skill tree is always a tricky one for me.
It is.
Because you'll see a lot of action adventure games put the skill tree into their games, like a Ghost of Yotei.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Ghost of Yotei will do similar things to what you're talking about.
Yeah,
That KCD2 is doing. And so it kind of leads to a blending of genres because, back in the 90s, that wasn't a thing. There were clearer, more distinct lines between genres. Things have blurred over the time. And it's why I've always said the character sheet matters more than just the raw what I'm doing in the gameplay thing.
Yeah.
For my personal definition, because I don't think I think a stat tree or a stat page needs to be more important than your skill tree page for it to be more of an RPG.
And our Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 again has that.
Whereas things like Ghost of Yotei, God of War, yes, they've got skill trees, but the skill trees matter more than the stat page on those games. So that's why those games are action adventure, and Dark Souls is an RPG.
And overwhelmingly in Ghost of Yotei as an example, those upgrades are really just about combat, enhancing it in different ways. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is you craft an extra potion when you're able to make one, or there's less of a room of when, because you have to be timed with when you like add ingredients to a pot and like fan the flames, and it gives you, of course, you have room for error,
bigger window on this, that, and the thing.
Yes.
Now, granted, Ghost does have things like that, like greater parry window.
It is,
and I do think Ghost. I could be wrong, but I do think Ghost, maybe not Yotei, but I think maybe in Tsushima of like on pickups for materials, you'll get more.
Yeah, I think that might be the case as well, which there is that in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, but there's just that extra layer behind it. Because, I mean, even the parry system, it's about combat. This is about role-playing elements, more about role-playing elements.
I assume KCD2, since there's a dialogue tree and things like that like, it would probably have an upgrade of, like,
of course,
your charisma's higher, or you're more likely to pass skill checks or something.
It's like, one example, Knight in Shining Armor. If you have, like, clean Knight armor on, people get the impression of, oh, this guy's... He's a knight. He means business, and they treat you differently than that.
See, that would change. That is a more RPG based skill that you can acquire, than just you get an extra kill or something like that, or a move in combat or whatever.
Be redundant. If your reputation is bad, people are going to be like scared of you. Like you can potentially intimidate people into things more because they know who you are.
Yeah, and see that layers the systems on top of each other, which is where RPG comes in as opposed to the action adventure thing. So I'm with you on this. I'll leave you to your opinion that KCD2 is a better RPG than Expedition 33. I think there's also a conversation to be had. I'm not saying I agree with this, but because Expedition is turn-based, it gets extra points.
And that makes sense to a degree because the elements I'm talking about that make it, I would say, make Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 a better RPG than Clair Obscur is then immediately you just think of the JRPG. And they don't have a lot of these elements. It's a different kind of RPG, which is what Clair Obscur is trying to draw from. So it's not an exact one-to-one ratio of how the game is constructed. That's why if someone were to say, I'm going to tell you right now, the quality of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Clair Obscur, and Hades 2 are neck and neck. I think the key that puts it over Clair Obscur above them isn't that it's a better game, but it's the bigger game this year. Mm-hmm. And in the awards ceremony, it's why I'm more critical of that side of things because of how much it wins everything else, and it's already so up for debate. It's just like, well, you seem like you just gave it because it's a bigger game this year, but you already have so many other elements where specifically Game of the Year, where that's what it's for.
In the industry's excitement to award this phenomenal thing, they may have overextended themselves.
Exactly. Yes. But yeah.
Best action adventure, Hollow Knight Silk Song.
Hey, you guys won something.
Hey,
Jeff Keighley said that.
That was funny.
Some people were like looking into like secret jabs, like they were, we don't want to show up because we're not worth showing up. Who cares?
I think Jeff is just a weird guy.
I think so as well.
Yeah, and he that was his idea of a joke.
Yeah,
that would have been something you would have said.
Yeah.
Best action game, Hades 2. Congratulations to Hades 2. I've been playing a lot more of that.
Action's good, huh?
Great game. Great game. So good. Best VR, Midnight Walk.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Cool. Best mobile, I've only got the shorthand. Uma
Musume.
Race,
I don't know the second part.
Best debut indie, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. This is one where I would have rather personally Blueprints.
But what was this again?
This is best debut indie.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not mad at this choice, but I would have rather Blueprints be there.
Especially because it wins.
Or get something, you know? Because, of course, we all knew best indie, which was the next one, was going to be Clair Obscur Expedition.
Yes.
Best community support was Baldur's Gate 3. Congratulations.
Surprise. Hey.
To Larian Studios. We're going to be talking about Larian Studios again later. Congratulations to them for still doing great stuff with Baldur's Gate 3. Best ongoing, No Man's Sky. This was a bit of a surprise to me. There were other games that I thought had bigger moments this year than No Man's Sky. I don't really know of any big moment from No Man's Sky. I thought even Destiny 2 had bigger moments.
I couldn't think of that for Baldur's Gate 3 either, for community support. So there's a different world, Tavin.
Yeah, community support, I see more of like we're engaging online, we're talking to our people, we're updating our game and bug fixing and so forth, things like that.
That's why they want
best ongoing, I see more of like,
I see.
We ran events, we dropped an expansion, we gave more content. Community support is like we're working with the community to make the game better.
Yeah.
Best ongoing is we had a big moment. We dropped new content and had a big moment.
Which is why it's kind of weird with No Man's Sky.
That's how I view it. At least, But those two categories get kind of mixed.
They do
together a lot.
Yeah.
Games for Impact, South of Midnight.
Don't know why.
I think it's weird, but okay.
We don't know anything about the game and what they talk about, admittedly. But
hey, but I'm glad a game with that story, that message, and that narrative was able to get some recognition through the night. So congratulations to South of Midnight.
I just want to say my key issue is what's the main. I guess Games for Impact is already a weird.
I can't
category.
Okay. Yeah, it's a weird category.
And I'm just like, well, what about this game is the theme of it?
That I couldn't tell you without playing.
Yeah,
I've not personally played South of Midnight. So, maybe when it comes to PlayStation 5.
It's coming.
Maybe I'll sneakily play it on PC for our Game of the Year discussion. Maybe I will.
That'd be something you would do.
I think my 10's locked.
Yeah.
I don't think it's moving anywhere.
We'll see.
I think the only thing that has the potential to move is Hades 2.
You haven't even gotten then.
I gotta beat Chronos and I gotta do some other stuff. I gotta see some more stuff.
And the book turn's coming to him.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. I've gone the other way.
Oh, you have gone.
I've gone there. Yeah. Because I got the fishing pole now.
Where'd you get to first?
Not far.
Oh, yeah.
Not far.
It's hard the first time. Did you get to Olympus?
No, God no.
Oh, okay.
God no. I'm not even getting like 3 rooms in.
Damn.
Well, they've got the thing on it. Innovation in accessibility, Doom: The Dark Ages. Congratulations to id Software.
Hell yeah.
Best performance, Jennifer English. Congratulations. Your greatest competitions were your co-stars. And so congratulations. That was fantastic. I love seeing all the reactions. Erika Ishii from Ghost of Yotei.
Eating
Fucking
popcorn,
rocking out, having a great. She had a great night.
You
Man.
can tell,
She looked
yeah.
like she was having a lot of fun. I loved seeing Ben Starr's reaction. He, of course, was sitting right behind her, also nominated in this category. And when they said her name, it looked like she was like not expecting to win. And when it was like the Beyonce meme when Beyonce won Best Album of the Year. You're like, whoa, I won. Like, whereas like Ben Starr was like, fuck yeah! Like he was losing it for his friend. I loved seeing that.
He was a cool guy.
Shout out to Ben Starr. He seems like a really solid guy. I thought Jennifer English had a solid speech.
She did have a great one too.
Had a solid speech. Solid speech.
By the way, though, don't be so humble. You won. Like it was kind of seemingly
Jennifer. You did the damn thing. You did. I also love all the memes of. We'll get to that in a second. Actually, best audio design, Battlefield 6. Congratulations.
Hey.
Best score and music, Claire Obscure Expedition 33. This is one where I feel, as much as I love a lot of the music that came out this year, far and away, Claire Obscure had the most impressive soundtrack.
It's the most. I mean, that's again kind of the issue of. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Right.
It's new, and it's not like Hades 2, which is, even though it's amazing a soundtrack that is, it's a continuation of that same.
I think
sound.
There were other things in this category that had great. I mean, Death Stranding 2. I mean, yes, you can say we've been there before, but I mean, it's all new music, almost all of it is like. I don't think there's there is a recurring theme in Death Stranding. Don't get me wrong, but that's not like the pieces that stand out.
Sure,
you know what I'm saying.
I'm ultimately just was gonna make the point of Claire's just so unique. You know,
for sure,
and it's such high quality. Yeah. You can't really choose.
I mean, for my ear, I do think Claire Obscure had the best quality soundtrack of the year.
Yeah,
for my ear.
Yeah,
you know, Death Stranding 2 right fucking there. But, you know, it is what it is. Congratulations, Sandfall Entertainment, of course. Best art direction, Claire Obscure Expedition 33. This is where I disagree.
Yeah, and a lot of other people seem to have that exact same opinion.
Yes. And I mean, it's tricky because what is best art direction? I think a lot of people showed that nobody knows.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. With all the reactions we were seeing on Twitter for that. Listen, I don't think Claire's it's not the wrong answer. It's just not the choice I would have made.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's fine. I think that's a fine. That is an acceptable win. You know, like I'm not mad at that. I'm not like, oh no, what are you thinking?
Thumbing your nose up at it.
I thought like the way the tableaus and the imagery and the way all of the different elements of the game come together. I thought Death Stranding 2, especially in its final sequences, like you were seeing things on screen that you've never seen before. You know, and so I feel like that should have put them in a higher spot. But Claire Obscure also has a very beautiful world. A very diverse and dynamic world. Colorful, very colorful. And, you know, it's able to blend magical realism with realism together in a way that you believe and you buy. There were levels where you are underwater and they don't make a big deal about you. It's not like you're swimming now.
Yeah.
You're still running around, but you're underwater. And you look up and you see the surface of the water above you, and there's a whale flying over you. You're like, what the hell? Like, and they don't draw attention to it. That's something you have to stop and look around and see, you know, and it's gorgeous. So, well earned, right? Just not the choice I would have made.
Yeah.
You know.
Agreeable.
Best narrative, Claire Obscure Expedition 33. This was a category that I don't think I was like impressed by narratives this year that greatly. But I probably liked Claire Obscure's the most anyway, so I probably would have made that choice regardless.
People overall seem to have that be the most impactful story of the year.
Oh man.
Damn, the water. Look at that. Sometimes he spits in his mouth so much it spits back.
I like when you spit back. Best game direction, Claire Obscure Expedition 33. This needs to change to like best game studio.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Because direction's so. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Yeah.
You know, like
kind of easier to do that
because games also have multiple directors depending on what department you're in. Now there is like best creative leads. If you want to do best creative director and name the name, stop naming the game, name the name, like you do with best soundtrack. You name the name of the composer, right? So like if you want to be best game director, Hideo Kojima, Neil Druckmann, whoever the game director is for Claire Obscure, that's a different thing. You know, Brian Intihar from Insomniac Games for Spider-Man, things like that. You know, Cory Barlog, Sony Santa Monica, like that's a different, and I would appreciate that. But what is game direction? What does that mean? Game direction.
And to your point of studio, it seems like I'm not saying they didn't deserve that award or anything like that. But
right.
As far as direction, there's other people it could have gone to. Whereas with studio, it's definitively Sandfall. Like you can't really think of
I would agree.
the best studio.
Yeah, that studio's story, the story of that studio was incredibly well highlighted. I also think we need maybe it's a little too industry focused and not so much game focused, but I think the reason we care about Sandfall's story so much is because of their highlight in the Xbox developer _direct from earlier this year, which is why that showcase is my favorite showcase of the year, is because they do the deep dive. They do the documentary style thing. Let's show you and interact with the people who are making these great games. Let's take the time to recognize them as well. That's why I love that showcase so much, and I'm so excited for it to come back around next month, right? And they've said, hey, Playground's going to be there, and so I'm very excited to see whatever Playground's got for us, whether it's Fable or Forza.
I wonder what that.
It's probably Fable.
Yeah.
And then of course the big one, Game of the Year, Claire Obscure Expedition 33. This, first of all, congratulations Sandfall Interactive for getting Game of the Year. I think it's well deserved. I think it is the Game of the Year. It is the game that was most talked about, made the biggest impact, and I think will have the greatest legacy outside of this year. When we, as time passes. When we think of 2025, I do think we will think of, of course, we'll think of a lot of great games. Death Stranding 2, Hades 2, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, a lot of 2s.
Here are the 2s.
But I do think Claire Obscure is the one that is our landmark title of 2025. Well earned. Congratulations on that Game of the Year. And it's also worth noting, Claire Obscure had 11 wins or 9?
9, I want to say.
I think it was 9 with 11 nominations.
Which is the most.
12 nominations. Breaking The Last of Us Part 2's record for the most awarded game at the Game Awards. So congratulations, Sandfall Interactive. Y'all did great work. Great work this year. Well deserved.
Everybody did amazing.
Listen, this was a great year in games. This really was. I've had years where I'm like, there was 1 or 2 great titles, but the rest were kind of like whatever. I'm actually mad at myself for not being able to play as much of these great games as I've wanted to play for this year. Now, it's because I was like, I graduated this week. Ladies and gentlemen. Hey, look at me. Thank you, my good sir. I graduated. So next year I'll have more time, to play these games and play more games. So, I was busy this year finishing off my final semester of school and dealing with some personal life stuff that kind of, knocked me out of wanting to play the latest and greatest and kind of wanting to sit in some comfort food gaming for a little bit. And so I did a lot of that this year. And so I just didn't get a lot of time to play all of the great games that I've wanted to play. I didn't touch KCD2. I didn't touch South of Midnight, which I wanted to. I didn't beat Doom the Dark Ages because it was Doom the Dark Ages.
Not that bad at all.
But there's a bunch of other examples of games that I had every intention to play and I never got around to them. Avowed, Outer Worlds 2, Grounded 2 even. Shout out. And I take it back. Sandfall, not the clear winner for Best Studio of the Year. Of course.
Hoc.
You want to try that one again?
Ad hoc.
You want to try that one again? Obsidian Interactive.
Yes.
Putting out 3 games, and all 3 were of good quality. They didn't have a weak game in their lineup. You know what I'm saying?
Studio should have been Team Carry. If they did
I mean, I think they're valid pick as well. Listen, man, some great teams did a lot of great work this year. I'm very, very impressed with the output. I'm disappointed in my own personal playtime. That
pathetic.
Maybe if I didn't have to play so much goddamn shitty ass Kingdom Hearts games this year.
Whose fault is that?
Mine for making the show. Are you seeing in the doc that you have put? Oh, I see what you did.
Because we did our little thing, and I was like, well, I should separate.
Gotcha. And so Connor, with that, I think we should enter our next sort of segment here, and we should talk about our general thoughts on the Game Awards themselves. How was it this year? How was the presentation? How was the quality of the show? How was the momentum and the pace? I'll let you start. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Boring. It was boring. It was very boring. It was the only one that I can think of that was worse than this, and there's never been a bad show. No, there was.
There's been some bad shows.
I only think of one, and
I don't think this show was bad.
Not bad.
We'll get to mine, but I'll let you go. Boring, but I don't know if boring is his fault or is Keely's fault.
Not entirely. If anything, I wouldn't put anything on Keely. It'd be on the people who voted for the games in some way. In a way, main reason why it's not the worst is because I always remember that 3-hour one. That was we watched it in Florida.
Well, they're all 3 hours.
But there was the one that was
there was a lot of ads in that was 20. It was It Takes Two, so 22.
Yeah.
21, because Elden Ring is 22. So, yeah, 21, that one, had a lot of ads.
And a weaker year as well.
And there were a lot of years prior to that did also have a lot of ads, but that one felt really egregious.
Yep.
I mean, I always remember the days of the Schick Hydro Man. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's like, hey, doing the finger guns or whatever
I just think the people who complain today, they don't know where we came from.
We're hammered out.
How far, not only this show, but just award shows and games have come in the last, 15 years.
Yeah.
You know, we've come a long way, especially in this last decade with Keeley's the Game Awards. These shows used to be god awful, you know? And now, listen, this is a quality show. I think they're more fun to watch than the Grammys and the Oscars and things like that.
That's true. That's because
That's because they also do announcements and trailers in the middle of them.
And that's kind of the thing where, because Claire won so many categories, the who's going to win this one, and it was kind of obvious for a lot of them.
Not a lot of tension.
Yeah, there was not, and that's okay, because the real reason why a lot of people tune into it, let's be honest, is the announcement. And I think of something like The Last of Us Part 2. I think of Elden Ring. I think of Baldur's Gate 3. Those are all games that sweeped.
Baldur's Gate 3 had it? Sweeped. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. They sweeped very heavily at their Game Awards. But at the same time, the announcements were so vibrant. I have to go back and watch them again compared to this year, where you kind of ignored that. You weren't just getting the rote. Okay, we're doing this award. Yeah, that Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win. Surprise, surprise. But you always had that extra game beyond the awards to get excited about when it showed a trailer. And overall, I think the showing was far more boring. You know, I mean, people have of course talked about the ending with High Guard. It didn't look like a bad game at all, but certainly the weakest way they've ended a Game Awards that I can think of. Yeah.
In a while.
And it struggled. It's strange because even though there weren't many other great announcements, there were some great ones, but just not overall.
I think we started really strong.
Yeah, started really strong, but there wasn't enough content to get it through the entire show.
I agree.
So you really started noticing when they didn't have anything else in the gun to fire away at you.
Yeah.
And Divinity, we'll talk about that more in depth when we talk about the exact reveals. The fact that wasn't at the end, the big thing that was hyped up, and it was just randomly in the middle there, kind of.
I love that Divinity is where it was. It's things like Fate of the Old Republic and things like that I thought that's, and we're gonna get into all the announcements here in a little bit.
Yeah.
Other ones to jump into this, right? I think this was a good show. I think it was executed fairly well. Were there things I would have done differently? Yes. I agree with the public when they say, hey, why are we just ringing off the winners to 3 or 4 categories back to back to back like this and not actually bringing them up and celebrating the games? Yeah. Now, that's a thing that has been questioned every year.
And they never do it.
Well, I mean, it depends. Sometimes I think it's a matter of balance, right? We're a 3-hour show because if you go any longer than that, then people start going, "Oh, this show is too long." You know what I'm saying? And so we have to balance being an award show and a marketing showcase at the same time. So we have to find that balance and figure out what is the right amount of rushing through some awards, giving the awards the time that they want and need, and then what is presenting. These new trailers and announcements that we have to present because we've made business deals and partnerships with the people who are funding the show to happen in the first place, right? And so I think that is where you get examples like High Guard being our one last thing. I think clearly those devs or whoever's publishing their game paid for them to be the one last thing. And I'm sure that was hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not $1 million. Or if not millions, right? So, I think that's why they were able to probably pay for the bigger theater and do things like that. And I've heard, talk on the street that it's starting to cost upwards of $1 million to be a trailer shown at the Game Awards now, because, of course, this is a show that pulls in drastic numbers. Last year, by several tens of millions, they outperformed the Super Bowl. And the Super Bowl was the most watched Super Bowl up to that point. With this year's, but the last Super Bowl to happen with the Kendrick Lamar halftime show. So for the Game Awards to be pulling numbers like that, they're able to charge a pretty penny for being on their stage. Now that then makes me question, why do we have ad breaks in our show?
On an online thing,
we can cut some of those out. You know what I'm saying? And if you are the Game Award, money. If you are the Game Awards, maybe you can be a little pickier at who gets to be on this stage and who can't. Of course, I would never say let's make it a certain dollar amount to where indie studios or smaller teams can't be on there. But do we need Hoyoverse to be here again?
Yeah.
Do we need the 7 anime games that all look the fucking same and nobody thinks of outside of that trailer that plays in front of their face? Do we ever think of these things ever again?
They didn't really do that this year. I can't think of any.
I think they did, and you can't think of any because, well, you were drunk. But you can't think of any because there's 7 in a row.
Well, here's my counter.
And they all look the same, and they're all shit.
I don't remember those. So, again, it could be more than I actually think there is. I've said this in the past, and I've been criticized by, I think, you and Phil. You need to take out those performances. The Claire one was great. The Evanescence was good, I think. But the problem is, the people who benefit from that the most are the ones who, and I get why.
The musical performances is what you're talking about.
Yeah. Not the final one. The twist, the combination of all
the themes and so forth.
Always
and of course, this year they opened with a heavy number from Claire Obscura Expedition 33.
Yeah.
Which I thought was fantastic.
It was a great.
Usually, when you bring this up, you're talking about the guest performances when they bring in the past the Imagine Dragons, I think Sway Lee's in the past, and then this year it was Evanescence with the Devil May Cry Netflix show theme.
And I say it more tentatively with the video game based one, the Claire one, but I'm just thinking in terms of far more. Those are things that happen primarily because the people are paying tickets to go watch this show, and it's creating a show. Most people online, they really care that much. Is that the part they go, okay, now we're locked in? Or is it the awards? And that takes up enough time to where you could put a couple more awards at least in there instead of doing a musical number that's primarily for the benefit of just those who are at the show. When you already do have a big musical number with the top games of the year.
I mean, I disagree because I didn't care for the Evanescence one because that's not my style of music, but I've really enjoyed those performances in the past.
But even if you've enjoyed them,
and I've never been in person.
But even then, even if you enjoy them, is that worth cutting out the games as they've been doing? With the live shows just going through a bunch of them, not bringing the teams up to get the recognition they deserve?
No, because we've had better balance than we've had this year in the past. I think we had probably the best balance last year of it. I don't think we had the best balance this year. I would have liked to seen more awards in it, and that brings me to my biggest complaint today about the Game Awards right now is these categories are weird.
That's true
and
too. Yeah,
I think top to bottom, the Game Awards needs to change their category list. Why do we have categories for genres? But only specific genres. Why is it fighting game? Why are sports and sim and sports games are in the same thing? Why is strategy and what is it, sim and strategy or strategy,
sim and strategy,
puzzle or whatever? Why are those in the same thing? What is the sports one? It's sports and something.
Sports and racing.
Sports and racing. Those are two different things.
Yep. The only one that makes sense is fighting games because those aren't recognized in the way those games.
But again, we don't, and it shows that these are weird choices to make genre-based categories because fighting games you don't always have enough category enough games to fill out the category.
Like this year,
where we had 2 fighting game collections nominated. What are we doing? It's like doing best survival horror or best horror game. Listen, sometimes we are drowning in horror games, and it's awesome. Sometimes there's not fucking one, and that's worth nominating, and that's great. And that's why you don't have it. I don't see fighting games and horror games. Those are on the same tier of genre. Where some years we have great years and some years we have. It's not like action adventure where you're going to get 12 action adventures every year. A lot. You're going to get a bunch of action adventures every year. But you can't just have action adventure.
Yeah.
You're going to get 30 RPGs in a year. But you can't just have RPG. So you got to have, if you're going to choose to do that, you're going to do more. But these other genres aren't popular enough to do that. And also, I just think it's a weird choice in general because genre is such a weird, lines are blurred thing, which is why we had a 15-minute conversation about what is an RPG.
Yeah.
And the differences between that and what you see in action adventure games. It just doesn't make sense to put Hades 2, Doom the Dark Age, Battlefield 6 in the same category.
To give some other ideas, because it's easy to say, well, get rid of the genres, because a lot of people would then say, well, what now? I think of best comeback in a way. I know that's not kind of being my purpose, but there are studios not necessarily comebacks, but ones that went from being like maybe their past games weren't these major big things, major releases, to becoming one.
To counter what you're saying here, I think instead, when the Game Awards began in 2014, the landscape was very different. And so I really appreciate that the Game Awards did their best to cover all facets of gaming. That's why we have categories like Best Content Creator and Best Esports Team and Best, things like that. But I think the industry has evolved, and I think the Game Awards is in a position to be a little more prestigious about the categories that we're doing. And I think they should be a little more focused on the craft of making video games than they should be about covering all facets of industry. The Game Awards, I'm sorry, Jeff Keighley, nobody cares about Content Creator of the Year from the Game Awards. Nobody cares about Best Esports Team from the Game Awards. The esports people don't care. The content creators don't care. Look at, we mentioned it earlier, look at how Moist Critical responded to winning your award. He didn't care. Nobody's cared in years about those particular categories. So let's get rid of them and let's replace them with something better.
Yeah.
Why is there no Best Lighting category? That's one that's boggled my mind for years now.
Because then Death Stranding 2 could have gotten a win.
Maybe it could have. Or it could have been fucking anything. Because lighting is so important to video games. It could have been another win for Battlefield 6. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Anything, right? Let's dive into it. Why is it all just lumped together in Best Art Direction? Let's break that out. Best Art, Best Style, Best Character Design, Best Lighting, Best editing even, or something. Like, editing is a huge part of video games.
It is, yeah.
And it's highly underrated. And we don't ever talk about the editing of video games. We don't. But editing is so fucking important, Why is there not a Best Level Design category?
Yeah,
that seems like an easy fucking win, is Best Level Design.
It's one of the key things that people judge a game on. And
literally.
Why not just have it? Yeah.
Resident Evil would sweep every fucking year. You know what I'm saying?
Kind of easy. Cheat code. Make a Resident Evil
because
game.
Interconnected.
It's all about
it. They care about it. They care about their level design.
One of the main things, it's not able, as fun as they might be to play, they can't really rest their hat on just raw gameplay as much as some other games.
Sure, yeah. They have things like level design to bump themselves up. But like Doom 2016 would have been a great candidate for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like, why are we getting real technical about things like score and music, which I love, and naming that? And we already talked about how Best Game Direction. What does that mean? We don't some of these categories. We don't understand what they mean. What does Games for Impact mean? It
has a message.
To put it a little blunt, Games for Impact sounds like queer baiting to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that sounds like.
There is a lot of that, I would feel. No, but I think of the one that, like, the dragon game, the one who was like dealing with the death of their
dragon cancer.
Yeah, that dragon cancer. Yeah, I mean, you have some things come in that you can understand, but there are many games where you're like, well, I guess that's a game for impact.
Listen, I haven't played it, so maybe I don't know. Maybe there is something in South of Midnight that I just don't know. What is Games for Impact about South of Midnight?
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's about a black family?
Maybe
is that as someone who is a big activist for human rights and who cares deeply about black culture, specifically hip hop culture, right? Crowning a game just because it centered black people, yes,
presumably.
Listen, we need more of that. There's not enough of that in the game in video games. What was the last game you can think of led by a black character?
Or spoken.
That wasn't. That's actually
might
a
have
good
been
that. That wasn't a character creator. They said no, you're playing as a black man.
Yeah.
Last one I can think of is Deathloop.
Yeah.
And then before that, there was a maybe was there a Far Cry in there somewhere or Mafia 3?
No, I mean no.
Mafia 3, you're a black man, right?
Mafia 2, yeah,
one of the Mafias, you're one of the
Mafia 3, you are.
Yeah, Mafia 3, you're a black man.
Yeah,
and so clearly, because we're struggling to come up with examples, so clearly that's something that needs to happen more. But giving them the Games for Impact thing, I don't think is helping in that conversation. I think it's making it worse.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's things like that where I go, okay, we need more clarity for what categories mean, or we need to switch them out with something that is more about the craft of games. You know what I'm saying? In a lot of the examples we've already named, or a lot of the examples we've already done. Why is there not something? Listen, video games are a very collaborative art form. You have to combine artistic intent and technical limitations. That's so much harder than damn near every other medium of art to do. Like, it's just fucking hard to do that. And video games does it to a level that no other medium matters as much. You can make a great movie and not have to worry about the technical limitations of a computer as nearly as much as a video game. You know what I'm saying? So why is there not best coding? Why is there not best performance in the sense of the game is performing really well? There's not frame rate drops or glitches or technical glitches or anything like that. Like why are we not rewarding what is an example of that this year? Battlefield 6, I guess, for coming out pretty, bug free. You know what I'm saying? And for running very well. Why are we not rewarding games for that? There were so many things that you could think of if you just sat down in a room for 10 minutes and spitballed ideas back and forth. How can we celebrate games in ways that people care about more? I'm sorry. I never give two shits who wins Best Action Adventure. I've never cared about that category. Not once.
I've always had the issue of that and an action game, and it's like there's differences, but
there is.
Why is there?
There's a difference between a Hades 2 and a Spider-Man.
Ghost of Yotei.
Ghost of Yotei.
Yeah. But it's still like, well, you could just not have either of those. I'd be fine with rather than deciding what the difference is.
Right. But if someone came to you with best level design, you'd be like, oh shit, I didn't know who won that.
Exactly.
If someone came to you with best lighting would be a weird one, and Silent Hill, that would have been an opportunity for Silent Hill F to really, really shine. You know what I'm saying? Just like let's find better ways to celebrate games in ways that matter. There's no genre category at the Oscars.
Yeah,
there is at the Grammys.
I mean, even if we're trying to get insular, I think of
but
how much
music is different.
When you think of like best narrative, there's a lot more writing that goes into games than just the narrative, especially in RPGs where there's, I think, Dark Souls, of course, and Elden Ring. You might not think too highly of this part because it's very individual about how much you want to care, but people love the lore of Dark Souls and of Elden Ring. And it requires a lot of reading to get a handle on that, but it's not the thing that's so front and center where it's just...
To my point, Connor, thank you for making my point for me. I'm so glad to agree that... I'm so glad that we're finally at a point where you agree that Dark Souls is not known for great narratives.
Oh, it's not a traditional narrative in the sense of... It's a traditional narrative in the sense of it's a story in which there's a point A to point B to point C. Writing has more than just that. And writing is an expansive thing.
100%. Yeah. So a best writing category or something like that, or best lore or best something else, because that's not narrative writing. That is still great writing, though.
I will shake your hand, Tavin. You're right.
Only what I've been saying for 2 years.
You're right. And I had a revelation. It's because Dark Souls and Elden Ring and so on, I was able to do that and have better narratives. Better than narratives.
I want the people to know he's trapped my hand in his grip. Like, he will not let me
Last of Us Part 2, which has a better written stuff, but it's not actually as well done as people think it. I don't want to go into it right now, but the writing of Elden Ring and Dark Souls is so much more interesting.
In terms of execution of writing?
Yes. Elden Ring is able to do so much more with so little. And Dark Souls as well, and Bloodborne.
I'm willing to argue there are way more written words in Elden Ring than there is in The Last of Us Part 2, but okay.
In the non-traditional sense. I'm happy we don't agree, Kevin. Thank you.
This is not the crazy... I'm not going to die on that hill. That's not the craziest thing
I'm admitting to your point, too.
This
is new ground. This is middle ground.
Connor, you've had such a breakthrough today. I'm so glad that we were able to find new ground here.
So are you, in the sense you've agreed that the writing in Elden Ring is better than the writing in The Last of Us?
I don't know if I said that. I don't know if that's what I said.
You said it has more writing, so more writing, better.
Well, of course, Connor, there's so many different things about writing. There's so many different things about writing. But no, can we figure out a way to award that tertiary level of writing, that things that BioShock are lauded for?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly. The audio files you pick up are far more interesting than the main plot that's being established here.
Exactly.
I would scrounge for those when I was going through those levels.
Is there, for games with amazing side quests like a Mass Effect or a Witcher 3 or things like that, where that's the thing, can we find a way to reward that level of writing? You know what I'm saying? Because there's so many... Writing in a video game is so technical. It requires so much work and effort in ways that you will never, ever, ever see.
Like Concord, funny enough, which I know...
I mean, yes... We never got to see that because it was going to be, unloaded over 8 weeks, and they gave it 11 days.
But even without that, if you looked at the all the the lore breakdowns. They wrote so
much.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad.
No, it's just the rest of the game was uninspired.
Painfully average,
Yes.
So these are the things that I feel like the Game Awards could be doing better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't give two shits about best RPG. I don't give two.
Well, I care, but I get what you're saying.
I don't give two shit. Yes, I care. It's cool.
Needs to be replaced.
But we only care about it because there's always enough great RPGs to come out every year.
Yeah.
To counter again the point of people acting like Claire Obscure Expedition 33 saved RPGs. No, it didn't.
It did not. No.
Like,
play more is what you need to do. If you're thinking that, I don't even mean it in a hateful way. If that was like, oh, this is revitalized, there are other games that have already come out since then, and even years past. Where
Baldur's Gate 3 was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And Baldur's Gate 3 is, in my opinion, superior to Claire Obscure in pretty much every way.
Yeah, but technically, it's not really an RPG.
Maybe not music. Claire Obscure might have had better music than Baldur's Gate 3.
No, I mainly think that because there's more funniness to the music in Baldur's Gate.
Oh, I disagree. I think the riffs,
Funny.
I understand what you're saying.
Oh.
I think the guitar riffs, I think the vocal riffs that Claire Obscure does is just way more interesting and cooler than what Baldur's Gate 3 is. And I'm not taking away from Baldur's Gate 3 that has great. I mean, the main menu music, fucking, come on.
No, I mean that in the sense of like funnier.
You're only saying that because of the Minoko song.
No, I wasn't even thinking. I was thinking Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, okay, now I'm lost.
Yeah, I just randomly like I'll be like in some tense moment in a video game, I'll go like I'm just like stupid.
Okay.
It's my point is it's insignificant. I'm agreeing with you, but
Yeah.
not in spirit.
Music is another one where like we have best soundtrack, but could we do best song? Best individual song or something like that. Like there have been years where like the best song of the year was not on the greatest soundtrack of the year.
No, it's true.
And so can we do that? There's just so many ways that we could award and recognize the people who make these things better than what we're doing right now.
Spitball it, guys, a bit better. That's what we're saying.
Also, and while we're still on thoughts of the show, another part is placement. And we kind of referenced this because High Guard clearly paid their way to be the final.
Seemingly did.
Yeah.
Or they just tested the waters wrong.
To me, like the one last thing that should have been Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic.
Especially since that's not coming out for like
fucking forever.
Yeah. Well, so they say.
And so yeah, I think if we just like changed the programming, around, we could have done better. And I do think we need to figure out a better balance than listing off 3-4 categories all at once without doing that. I don't know if it means having a better award setup for the pre-show or something like that. Or, I mean, what's the difference between the pre-show and the main show in terms of the games that you're showing off?
Yeah.
Like, I don't see a big difference between those things. Anything in the pre-show looked just like Coven of the Chicken Feet to me, So what gives Coven of the Chicken Feet a grander example? Because it was made by Bruce Straley?
Maybe it's because they paid. And maybe that also, too.
That, too. Yeah, hey, in pre-show, you get a discounted rate, so, hey, at least I'm on there. But, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Either way, there's things to value. I wasn't overall. It's not going to stick in my mind as one of the best awards that this game has gone.
Oh, I mean, it's boring to see Claire Obscure win 9 times.
Yeah.
It's boring to see that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just is, Not that Claire Obscure doesn't deserve it or that we didn't all expect it going in. We all expected it going in.
Part of why it's boring.
Dude, I saw the dumbest tweet. Someone said that they should put a cap on how many categories you can win.
That's stupid.
Yeah. No other award show does that. They specifically, they were like, when has a movie ever won half the Grammys?
Yeah.
Literally a couple years ago. Like, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Where were you?
It's an artificial way to give out awards, not based off what's deserving of it, but just
how insulting. Oh man, you could have won Best Art Direction, but because Claire Obscure already won, 3 or 4 things, now you get your flowers, Death Stranding. Who the fuck wants that? Nobody wants that.
Not the developers, I don't think.
No, nobody wants that. Anyways, Connor, let's move into our announcements part of the show. Let's talk about what actually was announced throughout the show. We are going to kind of do a free-form version of this. We're going to stop at certain games and talk a lot about them and then kind of move through a bunch of other things. I am pulling from VGC's breakdown of things, which is mostly just headlines or like, of the show as it went on. So we briefly mentioned it already. They started the show off with Star Wars: Fate of the Old Republic, being directed by Casey Hudson, formerly of BioWare, directed the original Knights of the Old Republic, and of course being known as the Mass Effect guy.
Yes.
You know?
Did a good job.
Oh, yeah, he did. Oh, yeah, he did. Casey Hudson is an early version of like what you see now with the Cory Barlogs, with the Brian Intihars of the world. A lot of like the game directors that like people knew before we started caring about game directors in the way they did.
Tim Schafer is one of those also in that space.
Yeah, Tim Schafer, Amy Hennig, Hideo Kojima, of course, but to like a way different degree, right? Like that's like way up there. Where like there is reasonable that most Mass Effect fans don't know who Casey Hudson is, but people who care about the industry and Mass Effect do know who he is.
Take
you know
note
what
of
I'm
that.
saying? Whereas like if Mass Effect came out today, we would know who Casey Hudson is today. You know what I'm saying? So Star Wars: The Fate of the Old Republic. This is of course going to be in the Old Republic era, and
the coolest era.
And I want to see what the I forget what they call it now. The New Republic era.
Oh yeah, I guess they could play around with that a lot too.
The newer one that
nothing's like in it. Yeah,
we've gotten a bunch of books, and I think we've gotten like a couple episodes of television of it, like some Visions episode or something.
That's after the events of the new movies.
Yeah, this is like way in the future.
Yeah. So what's the era where it's like after the originals, in between the new movies?
That is, so it's the Galactic Republic, the Age of Rebellion,
Age of the Empire,
New Order, Age of the New Order, Age of the Resistance is the sequel era. Age of the Resistance is
Resistance.
No, the Resistance is in all three movies.
Oh, I see what you mean. I see.
Yeah.
After that, though,
isn't it called the New Republic, where it's all like white and gold and shit? I'm pretty sure it's the New Republic. I mean, I'm really showing but this is why we haven't explored it really.
Yeah, and
Star Wars.
The big thing people were brought down on about this game after it revealed was people believing it's not going to come out until 2030. Now, I believe Casey Hudson, he came out and said, well, let's not say that long.
Now, to be fair, that is speculation on Jason Schreier's part.
I saw that, yeah.
Where he said, hey, Casey Hudson's new studio, whose name I'm forgetting right now, was established this year, like in like June. So they are very early in the production of this. And this leads back to the conversation that we often have in the industry and on the fan side of stop announcing your games so early. We're tired of waiting.
Stop doing that, goddammit.
Which I understand it's frustrating as a fan to wait and wait and wait and wait for 6, 7, 8 years for a game, right?
Argonaut Studios.
Argonaut Studios, thank you.
Good. Yeah. Argonaut, it's like science. We're going to make sci-fi games forever.
Sure. The reason they do these things is so that they can draw in talent and hire people.
Yeah.
It is very easy as a game developer. Hey, video games nerdy. It's very easy as a game developer to be like, hey, you guys like Star Wars? Come work with us, make a Star Wars game. Hey, y'all like Mass Effect? Casey Hudson's working on a new Star Wars game. Hey, the Venn diagram of fans of those two fandoms, same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing,
But hype affects things.
And if you go to the Argonauts studio, they're like hiring for creative leads in pretty much every department. So this game's years away. There's no cutting it. Now, Casey Hudson has come out and said, hey, it's not going to take until 2030 for the game to come out. Great. Casey Hudson, I believe that you believe that the game is coming out in 2029, but I also believe that game development happens.
And to give him some room, right? Even though they're doing a lot of that, that's more on the game making side rather than what they have for the story, what they have for the all of those things that are very important for a new for a Republic game. Like how far along are they in the actual writing of what they're going to do before getting into the mechanics of things?
Yeah,
they could be far along.
I imagine they have like a pretty hefty draft done of the main scenario.
That's what I'm saying. Where maybe it's beyond a draft, and that's why he's so confidently saying, "Oh, it's going to come out before then." I have better insight than the Jason Schreiers because I'm working on it. And he knows it's not going to take that long, or supposes it's not.
Writing is easier than the technical side.
It is, yeah, but I'm just saying that's still a part of it that can
not to take away from writers, of course.
No, of course
that's
not.
a hard job too.
But that may take it from the 2030 game people are expecting it to be to the 29 game that he might be technically right on.
Right,
but still, it's a long way away.
Well, then the next question is, what is the scope of this game?
Bigger? I would think that's why it's.
I mean, like, you know, and this trailer tells me a lot about art, about the fidelity that we're shooting for,
Yes, don't go too
about the
high.
level. I know that's the problem with all these games is they too big, too much detail.
Yep.
You know,
And Star Wars returning IP.
listen, man.
They might say that.
If you want this game out in a couple of years, and maybe not so many planets. Hey, maybe not open world. Maybe not. You know, it's okay. It doesn't need to be.
And the fact it's been away for so long, at least be like, okay, we still can work. I don't think they can, but let's make sure we can work in this new space, and then maybe go bigger for the second one, the sequel, if that's what their kind of idea is.
That would be nice.
Yeah,
that would be nice. I'll believe it when I see it.
Funny enough, we to get to the conversation of announcing these things too early, because we have talked about this multiple times. I was talking with my friend Spencer.
Okay.
And he loves Elder Scrolls, right?
Okay, yeah.
He was comparing Elder Scrolls 6, where he was, like, oh, this is a cool trailer. And as the joke is, where is it now? Elder Scrolls.
What is cool about that trailer?
It's coming. But that's the point, though. Beyond that, it's like that's just to generate hype. Nothing else, because here we are waiting for it. And now that annoyance of, well, where is it, has come out because you were so early in announcing it.
It's been here.
Compared to the last time he described being, like, a game comes out and he's super excited. Like, I got to get home and play this game. And know what it was? It was, again, Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered. Shadow dropping it the day before.
Yeah.
It went from what would have been like, oh, I'm excited for this game to, I need to play this right now. Maybe don't even really think about the money I'd have to pay for it. I want to play this game and buy it.
Yeah.
That is far more effective than doing it a far way out. And I'm not saying you should start shadow dropping every game. It matters. It matters when that's not the standard. But wait for like a year. Look at Clair Obscure Expedition 33. When were we really finding out about that game? When was the first time we heard about that?
That's apples and oranges. Can't compare those two.
But I'm just saying, the act of announcing something, it's just, you don't need to do it far out.
So there's a lot of context with the Elder Scrolls 6 that gets lost to time and to pop culture that we don't talk enough about.
Mm-hmm.
The reason first of all, the reason they announced Elder Scrolls 6 is for the same reason of saying, hey, if you want to work on an Elder Scrolls, it is coming. But we are launching Fallout 76 before that and Starfield before that.
Yeah.
That was what that announcement was. Because I'll remind you, they also announced Fallout 76 on that same stage. You know what I'm saying? And so that was them saying that, like, yes, we are trying something new, but don't worry, Bethesda is still going to be making Bethesda games. That's what that was. On top of that, something that also gets lost is shortly before that, Walmart leaked a bunch of games that we did not know existed yet, like at the same time. And Elder Scrolls 6 was one.
Mm-hmm.
So it was for them to be able to announce Elder Scrolls on their own terms instead of that leak happening. Now, if they were a little more calm about it, and this is why when leaks happen, you shouldn't react to them. Mm-hmm. You know, you should only be proactive in your marketing plan. But so if a leak happens, that's what I like about how Nintendo did the Switch 2, is the leak happened and they didn't change a goddamn thing about their marketing plan.
Exactly.
You know?
Keep on track with what you were doing.
Keep on track. You know what I'm saying?
People are going to die. Those things, they die out quicker than you think they do.
100%. People will forget about them, which is why nobody remembers these fucking Walmart leaks from 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But I do, because I was paying attention. And so
we're in the minority.
This is my point. If Elder Scrolls 6 was announced a year or two ago, then the hype would be crazy high. You probably would have had more to show us than a title treatment, which also I don't believe will be the title treatment when you re-announce the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should have just been quiet. And so, like, I can understand being like, hey, you know, Fallout 76 might change the perception of what games Bethesda makes. I believe they also announced Starfield on that stage as well. So we would have been like, oh, no, the Bethesda game that we're all expecting is coming, so we're going to allow them to have this space with Fallout 76.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
just stop doing it so early.
You just don't have to. You know, I think Elder Scrolls 6 is the biggest problem of that, of like, you didn't need to do that then. But this, I don't think, is so much of an issue. This is a newer studio. We've got some funding. We've got access to an IP. We need to attract talent because we need to make this game as good as we possibly can, right? Yeah. Because it's gonna make or break the studio, and also, you know, that name means something. The Old Republic means something. Of the Old Republic means something. We don't have to talk about KOTOR's legacy. You know, that's one of the greatest RPGs of all time. I would still say the best Star Wars game of all time. It's got some competition now, but it's the best Star Wars game of all time. It's gone out and influenced people outside of the medium. That's how important that game is, right? So, like, yes, when you say a of the Old Republic game is happening from the original director, yeah, that's going to be announced really, really early. You know, it's for the same reason why we know about 3 Hideo Kojima projects, and we're not getting any of them for years.
Yeah.
You know, because Kojima's working on shit.
That's also the personality of Kojima coming in, where people kind of give him more leeway, I'd say, in making a game, especially since it's all about what he pushes.
Well, I think of the Old Republic is equivalent to Kojima.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't think it's entirely on that space, because even though Casey Hudson's as big of a name as he is, when you were listing off all of the other big developers, Hideo Kojima's on the level that no one else is on.
Yes. So, that's why of the Old Republic is bigger than Casey Hudson.
And we think of again, to kind of connect that to movies, movie directors, you know about a lot of what they're doing before it happens quite a while, and no one ever has the same reaction to video games.
We've known about Tarantino's next movie for fucking ever. Yeah. We've known about Christopher Nolan's next movie for fucking ever, right? Kojima's got that same effect.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think you can tell the difference with this trailer. This trailer is actually a really great litmus test for, I think, who knows ball and who doesn't know ball.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's a trailer, it's sci-fi, the way it plays out. I love this trailer. This trailer is a great trailer. Because there was like a lot of moments of, what is this?
Mass Effect.
I don't know what this is. You know, like at first you're like, it looks like Star Wars, so it could be, but it looks weird. It doesn't look like 100%. So Star Wars inspired. So you go, like a new Destiny or something, like, or something Destiny related maybe. And then like we get down to the planet and the traveler like exits and you go, oh, this is definitely not Destiny. Okay. So back to Star Wars. And then you see something that looks like a Mass Effect relay. And so we in the room went, fuck, it's Mass Effect. Fuck yeah. And then we kept going and then it wasn't. And then we were like, well, maybe it wasn't Mass Effect because it didn't look 100 and it was weird. And, you know, that this is a different character, clearly. This is not like a Liara. They would probably lead with Liara again or something like that. So it's probably not Mass Effect. Like, these are the thoughts you're going as you're watching the trailer play out. And then the lightsaber hits. And there's a pop of, oh, it's a Star Wars game. Cool. And then the title drop happens. And then there's another pop of, oh, it's an Old Republic game. Fuck yes.
They knew what they were doing.
And then directed by Casey Hudson drops. And now there's a third pop. But that third pop is a lot smaller than the other 2 pops. You know what I'm saying? Not for us in the room.
No.
Not for us in the room. But if you look online, there was a lot of people who had this, the kind of funny guys, had the same level of reaction as we did. Where we went, oh shit, Star Wars. Oh shit, Old Republic. Oh shit.
The original. Hudson. He's original.
Right? Then go watch Hassan Piker's reaction to that.
Oh.
You know what the pop was? Fate of the Old Republic. You know what happened after that? Nothing.
He was talking about the fate of the Old Republic.
Because Casey Hudson is like a mainstream gamer, you know.
Yeah.
That I don't think quite to the level of ball and gun, but he's close. You know, he's real close to ball and gun gamer. You know, so he doesn't know who the fuck Casey Hudson is and why he doesn't know who the fuck Casey Hudson is and why that's cool, right? So that's fine. So that's why that trailer is so perfect, is because that's a great litmus test to tell who cares. You know, there's a level of people who only care because it's Star Wars. There's a level of people who care because it's Old Republic again. And then there's another level of people who are like, holy fuck.
And I guess my thoughts was that you're right. I was most excited for Casey Hudson because I remember Star Wars popping like Star Wars game. And then it was Fate of the Old Republic. You see that in the
which
title,
you've not played. You've not played KOTOR.
But I'm like, I want to play it, and I know
you know the legacy of KOTOR.
Yeah.
So that means something.
Oh, wow.
But you're a big Mass Effect guy.
I'm a big man. And that's, see, you have different elements that get you onto it. And it's why this was one of the 3 big reveals, the announcements that happened at the Game Awards.
This is the biggest reveal of the night. And it's your first one. which might be the problem. So we got to move on.
Biggest reveal of the night?
I think. I mean,
only counted for one other reason for a reason.
Well, maybe we can get into it with this.
We will.
Next
we
one.
will.
So
there we go.
So of course they were teasing it all in the lead up to the Game Awards, and it was this weird statue. We didn't know what it was, and so it was revealed. Well, a copyright revealed it. You know, a few days before, but a new Divinity game from Larian Studios, makers of Baldur's Gate 3. And this is why I say Star Wars was the biggest reveal of the night, because Divinity doesn't hold the weight. The pop of that trailer is not Divinity, even though Divinity is a legacy franchise that people love. Not enough people love it. You know? So Divinity doesn't create the pop that Old Republic creates. Larian is the pop.
Which
of
is
that
when
trailer.
if I recall from the audience reaction, that received the biggest
That's
cheer.
when you heard the
Yeah.
Which
is great for that studio as well. Like, to go from no one really knows what the studio is to getting
but
cheers
being respected. Everybody knew, like, inside game industry knowledge, you knew these guys were great, right? Because of what they did with Original Sin and all these other games. And to get into this is a great trailer. So really, really, really well made trailer. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. I want to stay on Larian right now. I think dropping subtitles, dropping numbers, just going divinity, great move.
No fluff. What is it? What was the first game?
Yeah, no. Do I need to play an old game to get into this one? No. Oh, it's part. For as far as the mainstream knows, because they care, because the mainstream got into Baldur's Gate 3. As far as the mainstream knows, this is a new IP, and that's genius for them to take that direction. I think that's a really, really smart move here, because it allows guys like me who have known that it's worked before. That takes the struggle off of guys like me to be like, okay, I can jump in here. You know, it is safe for me to jump in here. And also for the mainstream, all they care about is that it's Larian Studios. So even though they don't know that Divinity is a huge IP, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
irrelevant.
And so they can feel good. So, like, there's always that element of, like, well, should I play the first one before with all games? You know, Final Fantasy still gets that.
Yeah.
When Final Fantasy 17 starts, there are people online who go, probably because they're young, but there are people online who go, do I need to play the other 16?
Oh, I know people in my own life that do that. And when I tell them, oh, you can play anything, they're like, oh, pleasantly surprised, but it is complicated.
Yeah. They should probably drop the numbers.
No, they should. Get us high up, baby. Get those numbers up.
We'll see when we get to 20. When we get to 20, it's like, all right.
XX, dude. XX.
Oh,
come on. Too good.
Anyways. So Connor, tell me about your hype for Divinity. What did you think about this?
Well, I unfortunately don't, even though I know their quality, haven't played enough Larian games to know really what this is going to entail. You even had some people, I do know it's a CRPG based off Divinity Original Sin 2.
I would hope so.
And it just seems
thought
like
about
that's
jumping
the
into Original Sin 2.
Oh, I've only
just
heard
based off of the hype of BG3.
No, apparently it's one of the, like, a lot of people consider it one of the best RPGs that's ever been made.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, I've had a lot. And either way, though, even without that element of it, the visceralness of the trailer would get eyes on it regardless. Which we had, me and Tavin.
We want to go into that now?
No. We would kill it in a second.
Okay.
But in the general scope of what it was, honestly, aside from Larian Studios symbol popping up, that was the thing that made people focus on it. And the reason why I'd say it was the biggest reveal of the night is because it also had the lead up to it.
The marketing lead up, yeah.
And no one really, when they were throwing out guesses, thought Larian Studios or Divinity. In fact, before we knew about the trademark, I remember some people online saying, well, Larian, and usually getting shot down by, like, they just made Baldur's Gate 3, it's a major game, they're not going to be here this soon. Well, they were.
They're here this soon.
And so it just kept you guessing. And again, most people wouldn't have seen the leak either. The copyright symbol pop up proving what it was.
Yeah.
Even some people who knew of that going on refused to look it up or find out about it because they wanted to be surprised.
Right.
And despite that, it still had the pop it did. But I guess now to get in.
But if Larian wasn't attached to it,
then
Divinity, we would have been like, all right, cool.
It would have been like, oh, that was this big reveal, this lead up. But they kind of know, well, we're Larian now. People know us.
Yeah.
So they fed into that in the same way the Star Wars trailer led into the way it did what it did, knowing it would get that train of thought going. Of course, a lot of what people were complaining about, but arguing about was how graphic the trailer was.
I know. Yes. We keep teasing, and I want to get into that.
Okay.
Jeff Keighley, after the trailer, said this is going to be Larian's biggest game yet.
Which they said that beforehand,
even bigger than Baldur's Gate 3.
Yes. Major.
I don't need that.
Yes, you do, Tavin.
I think that was like the biggest feedback they got from Baldur's Gate 3 is that it's too big. We can't get to the end of Act 3 because they're so big. There's too much going on.
Think of it in terms of maybe, because again, biggest, what does that mean? The big thing about Baldur's Gate 3 is it's split into acts, that you're in this area once you move past the last one. Yeah. There's no going back.
Oh, when so you're saying they're going to drop the gates?
Yeah, it's just going to be the same level of content in there, the same amount of time to play, but you have much more freedom of how you approach it, and maybe some extra stuff because it's all open. You could say, well, I'm too weak for this to do this thing, and then move on and come back later. It's a lot more of a non-linear game, which is crazy to think of Baldur's Gate 3 as that because it spreads out so much. but it still ultimately is a linear
it's a
game
linear
because
game,
of that
yeah.
structure. And it depends on how you want to read it. Because I get, at the same time, there are people who still dig their teeth into Baldur's Gate 3 years later.
Yeah.
With other builds to play through.
Yeah.
And making it such a long game, even just as long as Baldur's Gate 3, extends that lifeline.
Yeah.
That lifeblood the game has.
When I hear bigger red flags go off in my head because of the way this industry is and the state of the industry that we're in right now, and I start thinking about, and bigger means they're going to go for like more graphical fidelity and so forth. And Baldur's Gate 3 is a beautiful game, but like I don't need it to be any more detailed than it is. It can honestly be even less detailed and still be considered gorgeous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I just don't need all of that. I don't need it, you know, and I don't want the inflation of costs and means of production to keep going up. Like we gotta stop. We gotta pull back.
Yes.
This has been a thing that we've said on this podcast 100 times, right? They need to stop looking that good. They need to stop being that big, you know?
I know we'll get to it later, but is Highguard kind of in that category? I can't remember visually. That's kind of the issue with it.
I wouldn't say Highguard looks that great.
Yeah.
Like
okay,
visually speaking.
I'm struggling to remeve it in my mind. But no, you're right. It's just,
like when you say that scale getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and also me as a 20, even my birthday's this week, so soon to be 28-year-old man. And I got responsibilities. I got shit going on, you know, and this is before, you know, I'm single right now and I'm childless right now. If I wasn't, then yeah, that makes playing games like Baldur's Gate 3 even harder to do.
This is what you're playing this year. Good luck. That's what it is.
Literally. Yeah. This is what you're playing for the next 2 years, and you're going to be playing it at a snail's pace. My manager at work has been playing Witcher 3 for 8 months.
He's trucking along, at least.
You know? He's doing great. He loves the game. He loves the game, you know? But he's been playing it for 8 months. We devoured that game in 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? So, like, there's a difference in lifestyle here. Like, the games don't need to be this big because most people don't allocate the time for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
We'll see how it is.
I trust them because their resume speaks for itself. So they can do whatever the fuck they want.
Especially Sven Vink. How much has he gone up in front and just said the right things about the industry itself?
That's another guy whose name is about to be up there.
I'm just on personality alone, let alone actual creative record.
And now they're looking at him and going, "Oh man, this motherfucker predicted the game of the year for this year." You know, and I'm like, "Hey, he wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong."
Which I guess there was another element of this. Sven Vink, Vinke. Gotta remember that. Tweeted.
Are you getting to your point?
Oh yeah, early access too. That's what's so great about this game.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah.
But I have friends that played. I played Baldur's Gate 3 in early access. The fact it went from being like, "Wow, this is a super quality game. I want to see what the full game is," to reaching beyond my expectations.
This is one of the best of all time, hands down. Yeah.
And everyone else had the capability of finding that out. It was in early access for like 3 years or something like that.
You think they do it again?
Oh, yeah. And they even said when they did it for Baldur's Gate 3, they're like, this is what we did for Divinity Original Sin. I think they did do it for that.
Okay.
One of their other games they did early access, and they were like, it worked for us. It allowed us to get feedback from the gamers. It allowed us to do testing grounds, because it might have been my PC, but I know other people had the problem. Baldur's Gate 3, when it first early access came out. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Very, very beefy is in terms of it ran like
demand. The demand on the machine.
Yes, and it showed. You know, they did not get all their ducks in a row. And again, I was on a weaker PC, but still other people had that same problem. Not there at the final product when they were like, okay, this is 1.0. No one was complaining. The game really stuttered at the beginning. The dragon wasn't there when it was supposed to be there.
I would not be surprised if in a year we get an announcement of Baldur's Gate 3 on Switch 2.
They're trying to make it work, I guess.
I am certain there is somebody over there trying to make that work.
Good luck.
Good luck, but I believe they can do it. The Switch 2 seems it's powerful enough.
It's viable, but they can't even get Elden Ring. Right? They're having trouble with that.
They're having trouble with Elden Ring.
Elden Ring, I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah. So, we'll see. Well, I mean, I don't, like, frame drops in Baldur's Gate don't matter as much as frame drops in Elden Ring. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Because of the action game that Elden Ring is versus the turn-based
I thought
game.
you turned it around. I was like, are you stupid?
No. Yeah. But no, early access is an interesting because it's working very well for some studios.
Yeah.
Supergiant, Hades is another one where this is working very well for them. So I imagine this is going to be sort of their MO for a while.
I hope so.
Yeah. Now, all right, let's get into the conversation of the trailer.
I'm happy we talked about this beforehand because we're going long. So it won't be as long, I don't think.
Well, we're going to quickly run out of games that we're going to go this long on.
Yeah, that's true as well, yeah.
And so, and I mean, if we go 2 hours, we go 2 hours. The trailer is hyper violent.
Yes.
And has people just straight up having sex, like wild sex on screen. All right. And that, I don't have a problem with that. Let me be very clear. I don't have a problem with that in the trailer.
The French know. They've done it for years.
I've got no problem. The thing about it is that this premiered on the Game Awards stage. The Game Awards, as I said earlier in this podcast, premieres to more people than who watch the Super Bowl. So to me, it's a problem if you are that hyper violent and that graphic sexually without a content warning. I think it is inconsiderate and negligent on the part of the Game Awards to show that level of trailer without a content warning. And this is not me saying, this is not me clutching my personal pearls, even though I did think the trailer was hyper graphic and it did make me go, ew, I don't want to see that, I mean, I'm going to watch the trailer again.
I was like one of the revelers in the crowd because I was drunk. And I was like,
yeah, set him on fire, No, but like it was like, it's not pleasant to look at, but that's the point of the trailer. It's supposed to be revolting, right? Like, and so for me as a art is art type guy, I want that to be a thing that you can do. And I love that. Just put a content warning. Just before... And they did like a whole like bit with the villagers in the crowd and so forth. Just put black screen, white text. Hey, the next 5 minutes is going to be very graphic.
So I think because
the Game Awards appeals to so many broad people. This is a stage where the Muppets are here. We spent 7 minutes talking to Miss Piggy during the Game Awards. Don't get me wrong. I love that the Muppets are here.
Oh, no, I know.
I understand the Muppets get a lot of hate. I love it. Every year.
I've seen them only get love.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I see them get a lot of hate.
That's funny though, too.
And they got a lot of hate this year for it. When it was the old men in the balcony, like people were into that because they were roasting Jeff Keighley and stuff. And I think I said it while we were watching. Jeff Keighley plays the role of a human in a Muppet movie very well.
He does, yeah.
He does it very
They should have
well.
him in the next Muppet movie.
They should, man. They really should. Just a little cameo, put a little Jeff Keighley in
And
there.
they know him. They're like, hey, Jeff from the Game Awards.
Just have him be like, I don't know, like a storekeeper or something. And he's like, hey, Kermit, get out of here. Get out of here. Something like that. All of that to say.
Which I will say, counter the Muppet part. Everyone knows the Muppets, so that's kind of not this is family oriented because they're there. They're just there because they're culturally significant.
Yes, but like that puts an idea in the audience's head that this show is safe for my child to watch, right? Especially because it is a marketing beat in the lead up to Game Awards of Miss Piggy is going to be at the Game Awards.
Yeah.
Like, come join us Thursday. Like that's a marketing beat. So that tells parents that the children can watch and have a good time because the Muppets are here. And then we set a man on fire and tear him apart and combine him with a goat. And there's green people fucking.
Or a lizard person.
Like fucking. And this is coming from someone who liked the trailer. What did you say?
Only one was a lizard.
Okay, great. Yeah, there was a lizard person getting fucked on
green
on
people
screen,
like they're
all
all green. That's not
and
true.
and it was a graphic fucking too.
It was, yeah.
It wasn't like just like they were showing dick.
No, they weren't. Not full penetration. There was no full penetration. There was only breasts.
There was dick, wasn't
I
there?
didn't see that, no. I watched
Pull up the trailer. Let's find this dick right now.
Zoom in real far.
My only point is that just put a content warning.
No, so
or have a family friendly stream.
Based off our conversation from before the show, mine was a lot less not forgiving, but
you fucking coward,
fucking
stand
loser.
By it.
You're a
Stand by
fucking
it.
pussy. Stop whining, baby. And to that, I'm absolutely right. Any single person that is saying, "Well, I didn't like my kid watching this," I don't care about your kid. You had it. Deal with it. I don't care of someone. I don't like.
But
the
they
bloody,
can't deal with it responsibly
see,
if they don't know.
That's the thing. Wait 1 second. Stop complaining. Ooh, flesh. I don't like the flesh liquefying. It's scary. There's far worse things in this world than a visual thing on a screen having its flesh liquefied.
I was gonna say there's worse things than having your flesh liquefied.
There's not many worse things in real life.
That's really bad.
And that's all to say, you know what? I need to hammer away on it a little bit more. You're a baby. You're a child. Grow up. Grow a spine. Stop being such a wuss. Aside from that point, you're right, Tavin. From a show perspective, what's the point in not showing that? Aside from the artistic fact that it's shocking and you would know something shocking is coming if you did a content warning. So that's also why I don't care. But at the same time, I get it. That's more of a marketing issue.
But there's such
rather
a range.
than the actual act
There's
of showing
such a
that.
range of it of what that could possibly be. And
There is.
I don't think just because you know it's coming doesn't change. If I go into a Saw movie, I know people are going to get ripped apart and eat their own flesh.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's not going to change the fact that when it happens, I go, ugh. You know, like the ugh is still there. You know, that like skin crawling, like cringe of watching something hyper violent is still going to happen because you're still watching something hyper violent.
Yeah, and that's all true to a degree, but you still like prepare yourself. There's a difference between bracing yourself, like I could see something gross, to just being like, why is this guy, he's chained up, okay, it's kind of bad. Oh, look, it's a big, they're burning him. And with your usual context of how these trailers go, it wouldn't go as far as it ended up going.
But there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people who just don't want to see that.
Of course, and I'm saying,
and I think it's totally fine that they don't want to see that.
It's totally fine. It's not fine when you complain out in the open. Now you become a
disagree.
target.
I
Now
don't agree.
you're the person I can look at and say, I don't like you.
I can be frustrated that I watch this live event that markets itself as a big live event and hundreds of millions of people watch. And I want to watch too because I care and love about video games and I want to see the new trailers and things. And in your marketing material, you use Miss Piggy, and then you show someone get ripped apart like from bone and sinew, like levels of violence.
Perfect middle ground, right? And this is again because I'm agreeing with you in the sense that this is a failure on the Game Awards.
This is a Game Awards problem.
It is. Yeah.
I don't. Hey, Larian, make whatever you want to make.
Yeah,
you know.
It's the people who are trying to deliver it to the audience in the way they are.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Yes.
You just need to market that not content warning before the trailer. You should kind of go in knowing that by having the event be, this is 18 and up. This is a mature event. Even when you're with your Miss Piggy promotion, include it in whatever tweet you're sending out that says that. Hey, like 18 and up. Like
I think even like, yes, that would help and that would benefit, but I still think that like, this is a long event. I don't know when the parts that I want to watch or don't want to watch are going to show up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like someone who doesn't want to watch that trailer is just probably generally not going to play Divinity anyway.
That's true.
You know, so they can just miss that trailer. It's okay. They'll get the update on Twitter later. You know what I'm saying? And I also don't believe that Divinity is going to show that level of violence in the game.
Well, maybe not.
Because it's very expensive to show that level of violence.
But in response to people talking about this trailer, I can't remember his name. One of the developers was like, hey, we're trying to be a bit more mature. He didn't exactly say, hey, don't worry, guys. He didn't soothe fears that that's not going to happen.
Yeah, so you have this quote from Whelp?
Yeah, Cromwell.
Where you have, quote, you brought this to my attention. Quote, the phrase, treating the audience with a level of intellectual respect.
Quote, can you do the thing he's replying to, though? Because that's the thing that's
I can't see
You
it.
can scroll up, can't you?
I can't scroll up. That's why when you did it, I was very confused as to what you were showing me. Treating the audience with a level of intellectual respect came up a lot in planning. It is about trying to shock them. It's about trying to match their powers of comprehension so that it resonates. We know people are capable of appreciating a three-dimensional world. But like some people don't want to. Like it's not, that's not a level of intellectual respect. That's a like treating audience with like artistic like freedoms of like, hey, yeah, we're gonna show if you want to be in on this is what we are doing, you know. But like, listen, man, there's red band trailers for a reason.
Well, so I guess to expand upon that, I'll read the quote tweet that you responded to. Kala Elizabeth. Larian is such a great studio because they're not afraid to push boundaries: gore, sex, violence, dark stories, controversial themes, and evil choices. They don't hold back or sanitize stories to make them more palatable. Can't wait for Divinity. And then he kind of doubles down on like, yes, that's what we're trying to do in a more intellectual way. And I just see that. I'm not saying,
and I don't disagree with either of those statements necessarily, but I just think in terms of a public showing, we should have some more grace for people who just don't want to be a part of it.
I was just talking about this in the context of you saying they're not going to go that far in the game itself. They could. That's the only reason I was bringing that up in terms of that.
This is the weird part where art meets technical limitations and how costly it is to animate to that level of degree. Like there aren't things like that in Baldur's Gate 3.
There's not, but again, in this context that they kind of give them with the blurbs, this is like society is degrading. It's falling apart. and a new evil is rising. That's the whole point of the setting of this, even if you don't know the specifics. And that is supposed to indicate of, hey, they're turning away from the gods of this universe towards this evil worship.
Sure, and so they're having sinful sex in front of a
screaming guy burning
a pyre. Yeah, it's real bad, right? And it's gonna bring more bad things. Great,
with kids wanting to watch. Yeah, it's like sets the standard of this is what's going on here in this world. They could show that in the game itself, because there are some brutal moments in Baldur's Gate 3, but now that's a bigger game.
Not to that level.
I know, but now it's a bigger game, as they're saying. They're certainly going to have more budget behind it.
Name me a game where that happens. Mortal Kombat. That's it.
Yeah, basically it. Well, that and there's some like smaller indie games that do stuff that make me cringe. This trailer didn't make me cringe.
This trailer made me cringe.
I remember there was this I don't even know what the fucking game is.
In a good way. Cringe in a good way.
Yeah, sure. It's a small indie game. He like cuts the top of someone's scalp. I don't know what the fuck was going on here. And he starts pulling it down.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm done. That stuff.
That's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a lot.
Yeah.
And I just think the Game Awards should do a better job, because this is not the first time this conversation has happened.
No.
You know, this has been a long running thing of like, hey, sometimes video games are hyper violent or just hyper graphic in a number of ways, and we should just do a better job of saying, hey, if you have sensitivities to these, for whatever reason, whether your own personal, I don't want to see it, or it triggers a trauma flashback, or my kid is in the room.
Yeah.
Like, you should just have a way to do that in anything. And I think really, I say easy, but it would also require work, is have a family-friendly stream. Have a separate, you're already multi-streaming, so just have a separate stream that a little message pops up that says, hey, the next 5 minutes are hyper-violent. To keep it family-friendly, here's an ad.
Yeah.
And then you're making more money, Jeff Keighley. So there you go.
Do 18 up on the little video. When you click on the video, it says 18 plus. There you go.
A pop-up comes up and says, hey, this stream might show you something great. I do think right before the trailer, they should still do that, because it's a long show. You know?
I love the artistic display of that, rather than the fallout that people say conceptually happens and maybe bothers them in the moment, but then that goes by.
If letting you know something violent is coming turns your brain off from the effect not happening as much, then I look at the art. I don't look at the content warning. If the content warning disables your ability to have the reaction, then the art is not doing what it wants to do.
But that's the thing. It would still, for this trailer, would still have that impact. It just wouldn't. There's that also element of it catches you off guard in the way you don't expect. Even if you are like, oh yeah, someone's gory and it's not something that shocks you too much.
It's not so much the like, oh, I know something violent is coming. It's just the violence itself that triggers that reaction.
It does, but it is more. I think you're undermining having, again, the expectation of you going to a Saw film. You know what you're getting for a Saw film, a Terrifier film. And I compare that to a moment in my childhood. It's the thing I still think of as that moment you walk in on a movie and it's terrifying. It's the scene in The Thing where it's the defibrillator scene. Completely, like, even if you're watching the movie, it catches you off guard. I was watching it. My older brother, and my dad were watching it. And I remember going like, ah! And sprinting out of the room when that happened. And
yeah, but you're a child and you shouldn't see that.
And I still think of it to this day as a great moment. That's why. That's what.
Okay, but you're a child and you probably shouldn't see that.
As a general thing,
so
yes. But it's
in
those
a
moments,
show that is marketed, and I'm saying that this is a failure on the Game Awards, a show that is marketed that everybody can come and watch, when you then show me something that not everybody can come and watch, that's a problem.
Yeah, so 18 up, that's my workaround, because it's not intrusive in a way that
right. But if I'm 8 and listen, I hear you. Like, I understand shock is a thing, right? Yeah. I understand that. I don't think it is that contributing as people say it is. It's contributing inside the art. Mm-hmm. You know, The Thing is a perfect example. You don't know that moment's coming, so when it happens, you go, oh, fuck, and you remember it for the rest of your days. I understand your story is a little bit different, but people who signed up to watch The Thing are also shocked that happened.
They are, yes.
They signed up for it. Yeah. That's the difference. Everybody else didn't sign up to see that. And quite frankly, I'm sure it is their intention. I do not believe that Divinity will have that level of violence in the game, because it is outside of the beginning intro cutscene when you first load the game.
Yeah, we have
because it's very expensive to animate that.
And we'd have to see. But I mean, I guess to your original point, kind of got ahead of me, is the fact it's so shocking certainly did matter because it's why we're talking about it and other people are talking about it. If they
because
had
it's inappropriate. We're talking about it because it's inappropriate,
but
not because it's shocking.
Yes, but I'm saying we wouldn't have had this conversation at all the way we have. I wouldn't make the claims I did. You wouldn't if they had put an 18 up or, hey, this is going to be graphic here.
Well, yeah, but this is how we learn. That's the human experience.
Yeah.
That's how we learn to do things better.
Yeah.
This is the thing where I'm saying, hey, we have pushed the line too far for the tone of the show.
Yeah, but
the tone of the show is here, and we are up here. We need to realign these better.
Sure, you're absolutely right. Yes.
We can go the other way with it. It doesn't have to be that now we have to be family friendly.
Oh.
I imagine we want to because that's how we get 150 million people to watch, right? But, all right, get rid of the Muppets.
Yeah.
Let people cuss on stage. Let the red band trailers.
Already, even then.
I mean, you can, but you're like
people have tact.
The culture of the show is very much let's button up and be professional and prestigious, right? That's the culture of the show. So, but if we want to go the other way, that's fine too. Either pick one or give me a content warning.
Yeah. Okay.
Or a way to watch that doesn't show me that, like a family-friendly stream. You know, something like that. Just we need to make a different choice because this is not working.
Maybe they'll top it next year. We'll see. You were. I completely forgot about this game. Not visually, but name-wise.
Next up, Coven of the Chicken Foot is a debut game from Uncharted and Last of Us director Bruce Straley's new studio. Can you look up the? I thought they wrote down the Bruce Straley because when the name came up, it rang a bell, and it's because it's Bruce Straley's new studio. Bruce Straley, if you don't know, formerly of Naughty Dog, basically Neil Druckmann's creative partner for the early parts of both of their careers, and I would say is the reason that you have phenomenal game, or is part of the reason as to why you have phenomenal games such as The Last of Us and Uncharted 4, and of course all of his work in Uncharted 3 and Uncharted 2 alongside Neil Druckmann.
I was going to ask how you spell his last name, and I was like, well, I can just look up the name of the game, and I already... No, it doesn't roll off the tongue.
Coven of the Chicken Feet.
Coven of the Chicken Feet. That's...
Yeah. You could also just look up like Naughty Dog, Bruce, S, and then get there. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, Coven of the Chicken Foot, it's a much smaller scale game, which I'm actually really happy about. I think Bruce Straley left Naughty Dog because he wanted to get away from the scale of things. Grind, crunch, how long it takes to get a game out. It's turning a lot of these developers off, which is again why maybe we shouldn't be making games as big or as, graphically demanding as they are.
And this is their first game at Wildflower Interactive.
Wildflower Interactive. Good
made
name.
in 2021.
Yeah. So I remember the headlines of like, oh, he's doing something new, and I'm very excited. This game looks great. This is a much smaller scale. Sort of on like a Death's Door vibe a little bit, kind of. But
Pale of Two Brothers kind of remind me of that. Not in the style, but in just terms of the gameplay, how it works. You
kind of. It's very like Last Guardian coded
that's
for me.
a good way to put it.
Where instead of playing a young boy, you're playing an old woman who has chicken feet. Hence the Coven of the Chicken Feet.
He's from a coven.
And you're like hanging out with this like monster sheep dude. How else would you describe this motherfucker?
A puppet. A puppet given human form, given life.
That's a weird way to look at that thing. It's a big thing. All right, it's a big thing. Go look at the trailer. And so with communication with that, you control the old woman, and you have to interact with this big beast.
Seems like an asshole.
To navigate. That sometimes seems like an asshole. Sometimes he seems like a really loving guy. So I'm sure like how you treat each other is going to be a game mechanic, much like how what the Last Guardian was trying to do. And so you're going to be navigating the world, getting over physical obstacles in your way, getting through some puzzles, and going on this journey and adventure together and working together to get through that. I think the game looks fantastic. This is one of my games of the show. Like I'm really, really excited to see more, learn more, and play this game.
It was pleasant. Can't remember the name.
Up there. Capcom officially revealed that Leon Kennedy will be in Resident Evil Requiem, and this comes with a whole lot of extra news. But this trailer, awesome.
Oh, yeah.
This is the one of a trailer that's gotten me on board to Requiem 100%. Of course, I was always going to play Requiem, but I was like, okay, we'll see. Because I'm not like a big Village guy. I didn't love Village, and so like this is kind of in that cycle for this. This actually feels like a combination of the two studios, or of the two teams making remake and the ongoing thing. So yeah, I'm very, very excited about this. Leon Kennedy being here is great because we are going back to Raccoon City, so you do need that legacy character to show up in that way. I didn't expect him to be playable, and he very much is.
Oh yeah,
he's actually half the game,
which not the best choice. I don't think.
I was getting excited to be introduced to Grace. Man, I was.
She seems cool.
She seems different. It seems like a character of like, oh, starting and ending, I'm gonna like grow to love this character a lot. I don't love her of what they've shown in the trailer or in the scenes so far, but I think that's intentional. You're not supposed to love her at that point, and you'll grow to love her.
Very story heavy game, it seems. So,
yeah. And so like I've been very excited of like the clear like, oh, return to survival horror. You're very weak, enemies are very strong. Vibe that they were going for. Clearly, what still appears and is not confirmed to be, but still appears to be Lisa Trevor. Is still kind of being teased and seeing in there. So I'm very excited if that is in fact Lisa Trevor. They showed off this kid. This is the first time they showed off that Doctor Monster. Type
it was leaked beforehand.
A little bit like a Doctor Strangelove type or Doctor Frankenstein type deal going on here.
Worse than them. Scarier than them.
Yeah.
Like, I experiment on myself.
This is Resident Evil.
That is true.
And so yeah, I'm very, very excited about that. And then of course, half the game you're also playing as Leon, which is we're gonna do more action oriented things.
And I did see a lot of people disappointed. They were already on board for the return to way more horror-based roots.
Let's not be disingenuous. Everybody's very excited about this trailer.
It's like I'm saying,
but there are
people,
detractors.
Detractors.
And I'm not going to say count me among them, but count me as a sympathizer.
Listen, I was tricked, and I saw it with the leak of Leon being there and the doctor guy, not thinking Leon was going to be a playable character. I saw, and I thank whoever it was. Thank you for lying to me. Who was saying the other playable character that was leaked was Rosemary Winters, Ethan Winters' daughter.
I would rather fucking like put nails in my eyes.
And I heard that, I was like, oh, why are you getting rid of this? Like, why are you detracting from this new character for someone
no one cared about?
Get me away
from Winters, man. We don't like the Winters family. No. We don't like them.
Leon. We like Leon.
Yeah, we like Leon. We like Leon.
I'm going to be honest. You know what? I don't usually do this. I'll put in my tie that says feminist. They should have done Claire.
I agree.
More Claire. I want Claire back. I'm
a Claire guy. I understand why we did Leon.
Of course, it's Leon.
Leon.
In the first new game since 6.
Well,
like new continuation of.
Less of a sidetrack that 7 and 8 are. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. I get why we're doing Leon. Leon is essentially the face of the franchise. Mm-hmm. He's been playable in the most amount of games. I think Chris is right there. Mm-hmm. I saw a thing that said they're equivalent. They're only equivalent if you count DLC for Resident Evil 5 as its own thing, which I don't.
Leon stands alone.
I think Leon's been the playable character more often than not, and so I think Leon is pretty much the face of it. I would have rather Claire be a choice here personally as well, because I like Claire a lot, especially I think Resident Evil 2, she shined very well in that remake. But I'm totally fine with Leon being here, and I'm totally fine with having that more action style to it. I like us kind of trying to blend the two and find a balance that hopefully will work. They've said, hey, you're going to be bouncing back and forth between the two at set intervals. We'll see how that works in terms of like tone, pacing, and I kind of feel like it's going to lead to that moment of like, oh, I'm playing as Leon and having a great fun time, and then I don't want to go back to this slower pace of managing my inventory, of trying to sneak around.
Still trying to fight, though. Like, it's just not as focused.
Right. Well, yes. Yeah. But, like...
in the same way that elements that you're talking about are in the Leon-style gameplay, it's just not the most predominant. I think they could do a really perfect blend of those two gameplay styles with what they're showing us so far.
I hope so as well, right? I know gamers, and I can very much feel... this is Resident Evil's Mary Jane missions.
Yeah, I can see that.
Where you're like, all right, well, that's not fair. I expect the Grace missions to be dope as well, but these fucking goblin brains don't appreciate good level design like I do.
No.
You know what I mean?
And you know what? I guess I'm doubling back. I'm sorry, because you are making a great point. I'm happy it's not Claire. I want her to be in her own standalone game. I want her to come back in that way.
At this point, they're not going to do it, though.
But we can hope.
Stay hoping, man. Last time we saw Claire was Revelations.
I know. Then maybe Jill? No, not Jill.
I'd be fine with Jill, too.
Yeah. Well, for this game?
Do you think... anything.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you think we're getting... well, do you think Claire is in the game at all?
Hope she is.
I kind of hope so, too.
It's her and Leon. Like, I know Leon's, of course, the face of it.
I mean, we're probably going to get homegirl he talks to all the time. Hennigan? Hennigan? Yeah.
Oh, and please, you have to also...
I like Hennigan.
Oh, she's a great eye in the sky. Great eye in the sky character.
Yeah.
We need to have Ada Wong. We have to have her show up. She has to. She goes anywhere. How do you mean how?
She died. In 6.
So didn't she escape? Wasn't the whole thing she faked her death?
No.
No.
There was a clone. She died.
No. She Ada wanted.
They both died. Her and the clone.
No.
The clone fell off a building.
Wait. No, she's not dead. Did Ada die? No, the real Ada does not die in Resident Evil 6.
Oh, doesn't she?
Yeah. Confront. Yep. She seems like she lives.
She got me again, man.
Oh,
she got me again.
That vixen. And the thing is with her, that's in Resident Evil 6. What do you think they're going to make that canon?
I don't think I've played Resident Evil 6 since 2014.
It's been a while, yeah.
But
would you think they're going to keep up with the continuity of RE6? We can't even say 5.
Probably not, Ada
won't. She's got to be there, Tavin. You know she has to.
God, I want her there so bad.
Yeah, Leon's just like...
You got to have her there.
It's like Cloud and Sephiroth. You have to have the two.
Except they want a bone.
Yeah, it's different. Well, I mean...
you never know.
You never know.
Really. Sephiroth do be looking at Cloud
He's
sometimes.
always like...
They get real close. They get real close. Resident Evil Requiem, I'm excited to play it. I can't wait. A new trailer for Exodus showed more of the Wizards of the Coast sci-fi action RPG starring Matthew McConaughey. I did not pick up that Matthew McConaughey was in that motherfucker. This game looks pretty generic.
It looks very generic. Nothing's ever been inspired with it. But it could be wrong. Easily could be proven wrong.
I'll wait. Next, probably the next and last big game that we're going to spend time talking about, Control Resonant, sequel to 2019's Control from Remedy Studios. Got me one extra little point on the prediction things. All right. You're playing as Jesse Faden's brother this time around, and instead of staying in the old house, you are out on the streets of New York. The hiss has gotten out.
They said it's like,
we'll see.
Oh, yeah, right?
Yeah, listen, I imagine shit's going to be fucked up.
Remedy's weird. They like to get weird with it.
Yeah. So they showed off a little bit, like flashes of gameplay and stuff, but it was more of like a story-based, like tone-setting trailer, which I think is appropriate. It's more melee-focused than third-person shooter-focused like Control was, but we're still kind of dealing with that service weapon idea of like our weapon is transforming into multiple different types of weapons. So, like you saw a big hammer, you saw a spear, you saw like little dual blade things going on. Very excited about it. From everything that we're hearing of people talking about it or what the PR people are saying, the combat is going to be a highlight of this game, which is what I would expect. It was a highlight of the first Control. So I hope things like a parrying are in this, and I hope it feels really good.
I like good parries.
I hope it feels really, really good.
Their biggest game yet?
Their biggest game yet, yeah. So, and they said this is going to be sort of open-ended zone type structure, not open world, but like just big open areas that you can run around and explore in, but not open world.
Yes.
Which I think is a good formula for them to hit. The highlights on the game being a clear jumping on point for new players, which I think is fine. I don't think you need to say that, but I think it's fine. And yeah. So the only thing that's disappointing me is you're not playing as Jesse Faden in this game.
And she's important because I have seen a lot of that because apparently she's a great character in her game. I remember
her being solid.
Yeah. I think he's trying to. I saw a blurb that he's trying to find her.
He's trying to find her.
Just switch the positions.
They've switched it and so forth. But my thing about that is that the brother is not in the first game a lot, and when he is there, he's not like really interesting.
But isn't he kind of like going weird, crazy?
Yeah, he's like the source of the problem because he's going crazy and has these powers and so forth. So he's a big problem in the game.
So good time. I think this is the time where they'll be like, okay, let's make him a character rather than a plot point.
I hope so. I hope so, man. Like, listen, I have the utmost faith in how this game is going to play. You know, and also the story of Control is not my favorite part of Control. It's more of like the set piece moments and the action of it are my favorite parts of it, and the like exploring the environment and so forth. The old house was a great setting to run around and explore in and find all the nooks and crannies and the madness that was going on in there in the FBC. Can you recreate that with streets of New York? This has been my problem with Resident Evil. I like when we pick a place, the Spencer Mansion, the RCPD, the Baker House, right? Versus Raccoon City. All right, I guess. Yeah, sure. A village. Okay, yeah, sure. A castle. The continent of China,
Hong Kong,
or the country of China, the Africa. New York kind of falls into that. So like can you do that? I think like even Alan Wake, what's the town in Alan Wake called?
Springs? Falls?
Something Falls.
Twin Falls?
Not Twin Peaks.
Yeah, it's similar to Twin Peaks.
It is similar though. Anyways, so yeah, the game looks great. I'm excited. Set for next year. Ready to see more. And I hope Bright Falls. I hope it delivers on everything that I personally have for my expectations for what a Remedy game is in 2026 and what a sequel to Control means in 2026.
I hope to God we play the first Control before that comes down.
Me too. It's a great game.
Mm-hmm. We'll see.
We'll see. Also, I'm just nervous for Remedy in general. FBC Firebreak really did a lot of damage financially to that studio. You know, that sucks. Not unexpected, personally, but, you know, that sucks. The debut game from Yakuza creator Toshihiro Nagoshi's new studio is called Gang of Dragon. Homeboy said, I'm making Yakuza the way I want to make it, and I'm in. That shit looks dope. More of like a beefcake type character, less of like a brawler in the streets, but more of just like I'm just physically imposing on you, and like also some shooting guns and people dying and getting violent. That's a new tone. And a little more grounded.
So maybe actually,
maybe just a little bit.
He did take out a guy who aimed a gun at him.
Yeah,
and ambushed him in a bar with two other guys.
Somebody got shot in the head.
Yeah,
you know, I wouldn't really expect that from a Yakuza game.
Differently tone. Main character played by I'm gonna maybe butcher the last part of this. Ma Dong-suk, the great fucking actor. He's very popular in South Korea. I don't know if you've seen him in any films.
I've seen him in something. I can't recall what, but I know I've seen him.
Have you seen him Train to Busan?
That was it.
Yeah, one of the best like zombie like characters in one of those movies, beating the shit out of zombies. He's done a lot of other action movies in Korea, and he fights kind of like how he's shown in the trailer of just being this oppressive force who just beats the shit out of you.
Big motherfucker.
So cool.
2 new Tomb Raider games were announced. A remake of Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis and a sequel called Tomb Raider Catalyst have been revealed for 2026 and 2027, respectively. They did start with Tomb Raider Catalyst, which is the new game, lightly continuing, I would expect, the story from Tomb Raider Underworld, which was a 2008 game? Something like that.
I looked it up.
It was on the PS3. And killed the franchise.
2008, yeah.
And so both look great from my perspective. I like the designs. I like that we're going back to this old-fashioned take on Lara Croft where
the confidence is there.
The confidence is there. Yeah, she's got sort of like this like superhero charisma to her.
It's the aspect that's very inflated in Nathan Drake. Yes. That was based off of Lara Croft. Being,
well, even more inflated than
even
Nathan
more
Drake.
so. Yeah, because he's also combined with Indiana Jones, which is Lara Croft solely her own kind of character.
With the hype. I mean, she was always female Indiana Jones.
That's true, but
that
allowed her to kind of make her own space.
Nathan took more from Indiana than Laura did.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see that. The Survivor trilogy was great. I think that was what Tomb Raider needed in 2011.
Revitalize it.
To revitalize
it now.
Right? And so I think this is a good move for the franchise from here on out. Now, a remake of the first game through Legacy of Atlantis. Let's see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I liked what they showed. I don't know how that's going to play, but I liked what they showed.
I know you were saying a lot of people talk about Lara Croft on your social media feeds.
How she looks, yeah.
In that part, I was seeing a lot of gameplay footage from Legacy of Atlantis. I don't know if you have seen that.
Oh, I haven't. Dude. I didn't know they were putting out a whole lot. Outside of the trailer where she was doing like flips and shit.
Yeah, and the dinosaurs, of course. Like, you find some dinosaurs.
Was there like hardcore gameplay of like?
No. So what it was people doing gameplay of the original game. And we're like, oh, I can't wait to see this environment in the new game. It looks you literally the flesh room, the flesh. Like you get to a part of the game that's like flesh level. You're fighting weird, creepy shit. It takes on a whole different tone from all the other times I've seen the game, and that's the thing I've seen people focusing on of what's this going to look like in the remake. Dude, it seriously has the chance to pack a big punch. Is it just seeing they can go like the Silent Hill 2 treatment where they just make it way more grosser and disgusting.
Tomb Raider's tricky. It's before our time.
Yeah.
You know, probably like 5 years before our time of when we start playing games and so forth like that. So Tomb Raider's tricky. I've never played it. I know like the controls are janky and finicky, and you know I don't think those games have aged well really at all.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see sort of this harken back to it and you know pulling that old into the modern era in a way that I think makes a lot of sense. I saw some people being like, ugh, they fucking they hired the like higher fans like people where it's just like, oh man, they just like focused on her being like gorgeous and beautiful and you know like that one grifter on Twitter right now is making a bunch of like algorithm waves because he's like taking the Ghost of Yote character and like putting her through AI to make her like quote unquote sexy or whatever. And you're like, gross. And he's doing it with a bunch of other characters too.
Do these people have eyes?
Literally. Literally. Anyways, so like this game is getting critiqued of being like, this looks like the sexy things. But I'm also seeing it the other way where they're like, she doesn't look hot enough. And I'm like, I don't know what y'all want. This bitch looks sexy as fuck to me, man.
What are you gonna do? Well, you can't appease everybody. Like
Literally.
you can't show a gory trailer
especially
and have
in the
people not
remake when she hangs
on.
on the fucking edge and then like does a backwards flip onto it and she's like got like crazy curve and shit. I'm like, fuck, I want to put my dick in that. Respectfully,
I think they've mentioned before, it's not something I use in regular conversation, but the male gaze is fickle and inconsistent, very inconsistent.
As much as even though I just played into
it,
I hate it. I don't know. Nobody's happy. Mm-hmm. All right, the culture wars and the fucking feminism and the misogyny. Everybody's mad. Everybody's mad all the time. There's nothing we can do about it. I think she looks great. I think both versions of her look great.
I barely saw a difference.
There's a difference. It's slight, but it's there.
Yeah.
I mean, you're dealing with a British white woman. She's gonna look a certain way.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
What do you want? What do you want?
British
you say?
white woman?
She also looks like the Laura Croft from the last game.
Tavin. We're both white. We know that white people look very diverse and different from one another, and everyone else that's of different races doesn't. That's how it goes. Except Hispanics.
I think white people usually actually look the most like each other than anybody else.
No, Tavin. Again, we are white.
Okay.
That does not apply to us.
Oh.
And we bypass that. Whether it's a fact or not, we bypass it. Because we are white. And why everyone else looks the same. Except for Hispanics, because we grew up in Texas.
Jesus Christ.
I don't make the rules.
Saw a great post from the actor from the Survivor trilogy giving ups to the woman who's playing the new Laura Croft and saying, hey, my time was great. I loved it. Laura will always be a part of me. Very excited to see someone else take on the role.
What's her fucking name? She did good.
I can never remember. Her name, and I'm so sorry to that. But I loved your post. You know?
Please. Camilla. No, that's Camilla Ludington? Isn't she one of the...
That doesn't sound right.
This is AI, so...
Unless that might be the new one? I don't know. Lenny Kravitz will play a villain called Bomba in 007 First Light. That's all I've got to say on that. Law, the next game behind the Ascent, is a cyberpunk FPS developed in Unreal Engine 5. PlayStation 5 exclusive Sorrows has been delayed until April. Not a delay you have to worry about.
Goo Goo Gaga, yeah.
Yeah. Great story trailer. Way more narrative than I ever expected from this game.
The direction it seems like they should have gone from Returnal, which is more bare bones. It's more, hey, find out as you progress through the story.
Yeah, they're a little more mysterious in it. They're a little more like ethereal.
Yeah.
Dealing with like mental trauma and so forth. And so, it was great because like it kind of like the looping mechanic played into the themes of Returnal. So I'm interested to see if they're going to be able to do that with Sorrows as well, whilst also taking this more story-driven or story-forward approach to it. But
seeing the game,
it's also going to create a great platform for Rahul Kohli to really show his chops.
He's great. And I think of the fact that it's more science-based, like active science stuff is going on. They probably have some machine that reverts stuff, and that's a big key point, I would think, from the trailer.
Yeah, we're at a point where, listen, you don't have to do much for Sorrows in marketing to get me on board. I'm such a Returnal fan that I'm down no matter what.
Yeah.
You know, I've loved everything I've seen so far, so I'm sure we're gonna get even greater stuff. Probably the game that took the most people off
by surprise
is a great look at David Soliani's surprise Game Awards reveal. Bradley the Badger.
At one point, it's the return to the we're main character is a mascot character.
Yeah,
we're trying to
very
make
much
him a person,
3D platformer
like
mascot character, very a la Astrobot, a la PS2, Ratchet and Clanks, Sly Coopers, etc., stuff like that. Crash Bandicoot. This started, and I was like, oof.
Yeah.
Does not look great. Like, in terms of how Bradley the Badger moves, how he jumps, how it just didn't look like game feel was going to be great. But as the trailer kept going,
systems unfolded,
it kept getting better. You're right. The system's unfolding. The Bradley's got this like weird like game dev ability, and so he can like manipulate the environment and manipulate himself even, and to tackle obstacles in different ways. And he's basically like cheat coding his way through the game and so forth. And it's so funny because it'll be like, oh, this 3D object doesn't have a texture to it because Bradley pulled it into the world. So it's got the like Blender effect of like the black and white checkerboard on it. And I'm like, that's so great. That's a great touch.
And of course,
and also being very self-referential or referential, I should say, to other video games.
Badgerborn was the first one.
Right. You know, a la Bloodborne. There was a clear Last of Us reference in there. There was a whole bunch of other stuff in there.
Yeah, what
so
was
like,
the other one?
Very much like a love letter to video games.
As it says in this blurb down here.
Yeah, and so I am very, very excited to see more. And yeah, I'm touching sticks on this one.
A great example of being able to have a game that doesn't really grab your attention from the get-go, and just through your structuring of the trailer can make you go, okay, wait a second.
100%. That's not what I want. Should have been getting rid of these as I was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So next was Star Wars Galactic Racer, debut title from Fuse Games, the studio founded by former Criterion leads. So these were people behind, I think, Burnout. I'm trying to see where it was. I forget it, but these are people from like old racing studios coming together to make this. This is Fate of the old fucking thing I was clicking.
You had to delete them as you were going through it?
There it is. I found it. And so Galactic Racer, definitely, it's a racing game. It's set in the Star Wars universe. You know, so very like pod racery type 5. So I'm very, very excited about that. They're doing speeders instead of pod racers, so slight difference. But, you know, I'm so excited for that. Set in the New Republic as they are... okay, so whatever I said earlier is not the New Republic, because that's not what this is. I've got their blog post here that's like breaking down the game. They give a lot of like details into what the single player narrative is going to be. Hey, this game's going to have a single player story, Connor. That's what's fucking cool. So yeah, of course, multiplayer modes. I want to get into their last thing, their last little blurb here, where speed across new and iconic Star Wars planets with every world hosting a new kind of chaos. It's not enough to be fast. You also have to know your circuits, branching routes, varied environments, and dynamic risk-reward choices ensure no two runs play the same. Select from multiple repulsor craft classes, each with distinct handling and tactical advantages. Customize your build, unlock new abilities on every run, and master brutal takedowns. Choose which events to conquer as you race through a dynamic campaign of speed, sabotage, and survival. Or battle rivals for supremacy in competitive multiplayer. No force, no prophecy, just skill, strategy, and the will to rise.
Let's cut through the bullshit, Tavin.
Yeah.
Tavin Bothel, excited for a racing. Why?
Because of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because of Star Wars. I'm in a speeder and a racer.
The system seemed really
I also read the breakdown of the elevator pitch of their story, and it's like, hey, you're this racer on the hunt for glory and the hunt for revenge. Your rival is in there, and you're rising through a tournament so you can like race against them and beat them and
Kill them.
win their day. That's a great setup for this type of game. That has worked in the past 100 times. I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, okay, cool. That looks neat. I'm interested to learn more. And then I went and learned more with this blog post, and I went, shit, this game sounds like a dope ass game. It seems like way more of a video game than I was thinking it was going to be in terms of like your build, your craft, learning the tracks and the races, and I like the repetitive run it back nature. It's why I prefer games like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater as opposed to Skate, because I like the learn the routes, get better, do better, have the muscle inputs become second nature as you like get through your track of things. It's like the same way of like fighting games and like learning your character and delivering combos in fighting games. It's that same mental, right?
Yeah.
So I like it in the racing things because the momentum is a great thing for me. And just knowing the tracks and being able to do that. The battle mechanics in there, I hope, are going to be really great. Supremacy in competitive multiplayer, a single-player campaign. Listen, it's all the bells and whistles that I would want from a game like this, and so I'm so glad that they are doing what sounds like a game to really garner my attention from a genre that I don't play into a whole lot often. Now, you made fun of me of like, oh, Tavin's excited for a racing game just because it's Star Wars. I'll have you know, sir, and I'll remind you, sir, I'm genre immune, all right? I love all genres of video games because I love the medium of video games too goddamn much. It just has to be great. You know what I'm saying?
My counter to that is
Great art is great no matter what genre it's in.
What other racing game really played that doesn't involve combat? That's where
I played Midnight Club London as a kid, I think. Midnight Club New York. Midnight Club London as a kid. Something like that. There was racing in Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, shut up.
I like those. There's like more of a racing thing in Going Commando. But not much more. There's a bunch of Mario Kart. Great history of Mario Kart. There's other racers I've dabbled in and played with. Now, is it like a main genre of mine? No.
Touch on.
You know, if you show me like a Gran Turismo, is that going to perk my ears up? Not really. You know, the more like heavier sim-based racing games, no, not really. But like this is not that. So
Yeah.
I'm in. You know,
We'll see how that ends up coming out. Looks good.
with a Star Wars coat of paint. Sounds great. Sounds great. Excited to learn more.
Mega
New
Man.
Mega Man game, Mega Man Dual Override. Way too much build up for the level of reveal that this was.
It's the return of Mega Man in a substantial
Which
way.
is cool
I get it.
Cool and exciting, but like also like it just looks like more Mega Man.
It does, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Mega Man fans like Phil, rejoice.
And a version of Mega Man that's like not a fan favorite.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like, oh, okay, that 2.5 kind of art style and so forth. But exciting that Mega Man's back. Free Shepherd, this is where we're going to start getting into lists. Connor, stop me if there's something you care about. Free Shepherd is a 2027 indie game where you play as a sheepdog herding sheep. Decrepit is a dark fantasy Souls-like set in a grimdark castle of horrors.
Looks like a My Alley. Dark Souls kind of game.
Sure. Is that the first-person one?
Yeah.
Looked okay. Audio Mech, from creator of Audio Surf, has a demo out on December 12th. That game looked kind of like a Vampire Survivors, but with music. Guild Wars 2, Visions of Eternity expansion is out now. A new region is coming to Escape from Dukhov in 2026. That's not like more comedy extraction shooter that ripped off Escape from Tarkov. Pragmata is coming to Switch 2. A demo is available on Steam now and is coming later on other platforms. Pragmata, talk about a game that looks better every time they show.
And this one was the best showing, funny enough.
And like I still don't think like we're getting a 10 out of 10 game, but it went from like a 6 to like maybe an 8.
Hey, that's a big jump.
Pretty good. Tank Rat, tank-based action game coming to PS5 and PC in spring. Stupid Never Dies is the debut game from NetEase-owned studio GP Track 50, run by veteran Resident Evil producer Hiroyuki Kobayashi. This is the game with like the long-ass music video in the trailer, right?
Yeah. We could see about that when it comes.
That was a bad trailer.
It was not good.
That was a bad trailer.
Because the gameplay, it started getting you into it as it
Did it?
progressed.
I only remember the music video.
Because it was not a well-made trailer. It's hard to
It was a bad
remember
trailer.
everything about what the game was trying to show you.
South of Midnight coming to PS5 and Switch 2 in the spring. Capcom has kicked off a new sale on PC and consoles. Great marketing campaign. Great marketing campaign using the YouTubers who have their functions and who are known for liking Capcom games. That was great. John Carpenter's Toxic Commando will be released on March 12th. The first game by Bad Robot Games, a co-op shooter by Left 4 Dead creator Mike Booth, is called For Loop. We talked about this last week.
We'll see.
Both those games had big like press releases, and boy, both of them looked like mediocre. Ontos from the creators of Soma is coming in 2026.
Pay attention to that one because
it's on my radar.
Soma's considered by a lot to be one of the best survival horrors ever made.
Yeah, need to play it.
Yes, we do.
Need to play it. Angels of Delusion are a new faction coming to Zenless Zone Zero. Cool for you fucking anime nerds. Fighting game 2XKO is coming to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S in January 2026. Very exciting. Order of the Sinking Star, the new game from Jonathan Braid, is coming in 2026. I'd have to remember what that game looks like.
Braid? Or that game
from Braid, Sinking Star.
Oh yeah.
Wizards of the Coast is working on Warlock Dungeons and Dragons, a dark fantasy action game.
Looks cool. Let's see if Wizards of the Coast spoils another relationship because it seems like Larian Studios had some issues working.
Oh, really?
With because of course they were licensed to make Baldur's Gate 3.
That's a licensing thing.
Yeah, because it's D&D. So it's
they're using the I didn't know that was like copyrighted.
Yeah. That's why they're not. Seems like why they're not going back to another Baldur's Gate. But at least part of the reason why. The only thing I was going to say because I remembered You liked Order of the Sinking Star. That was that puzzle game. It was like grid, and it opened up.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
The Witness. That's
Yeah.
what it. Jonathan Braid's The Witness. Yes. Okay. Let's double back to that. That
Yeah.
game looks fucking awesome. There said completionist time 500 hours on that is what's being said on that. Holy shit! I don't think I'm doing that.
Yeah,
but
no.
the puzzles, the open world like puzzle nature of it, really interesting
They're cool.
idea. Let's see if you can make it like interesting and fun because I can totally see of like. Fuck, I gotta go backtrack
Yeah.
over there. Now I gotta resolve these same 3 puzzles I've already solved, Like, so I can see that being really, really annoying. But The Witness is on, like, my wall of shame of games that I started and didn't beat. God, that game is so good, and I'm so mad that I didn't get the time to finish it off. So, okay, yes.
Yeah. Need to pay attention
Order
to.
of the Sinking Star, absolutely into that. Anime-inspired racing game Screamer is coming on March 26, 2026. Same day that Marathon is coming. Look up the day Marathon's coming. The first teaser trailer for the Street Fighter movie was shown. Okay, Street Fighter movie. Let's talk about it real quick. Cool that they brought the cast out. Andrew Schultz is a racist, not really fucking with that dude anymore. But that aside, hey, that movie, that little teaser looked kind of fun.
Fun. Good. We'll see.
I think it's going to be exactly what Street Fighter needs to be.
Yeah.
And this is my thing. You shouldn't be making movies out of fighting games.
You make it work.
You can, but I don't know. People, I don't know what Street Fighter fans want, but that looks like what I would expect a Street Fighter movie to be.
Because this is just like, get some big stars. There you go. That's like what it's hinging upon so far. Like from the first time it was announced to even now, with how they presented it, it's like
in how it looked in terms of like direction, lighting, fight choreo, that looked in tone. That's what I would expect.
it could be good. It legitimately could be.
I mean, I'm not expecting like great cinema out of this.
No, of course.
But like, I think it's gonna be a fun time.
Same date, by the way, with Screamer and Marathon.
Guys, Barbenheimer all over again,
Yeah.
guys. Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight will be released on May 29th, 2026. That game looks awesome. I'm so excited for that game. The first global test for Rust Mobile is now live. I've been getting trailers on my TikTok ever since they did this. The Forest 3 was announced with an accompanying trailer. Looked good.
Different.
Yeah.
Very, very different.
I was not expecting a Forest 3 to be happening this soon. So very interesting in there. Invincible Versus will be released on April 30th, 2026. They also premiered a new original character, Elemental, as a playable character.
Good name.
So let's flash back to when we first talked about Invincible Versus. And Tavin said, hey, I don't think the cast of Invincible is diverse enough for a fighting game. Well, here you go. Now we have original characters who aren't from Invincible.
More from the comic book. I didn't even read them. It's all the show people like you who bought the comics to be like, look at me, I read comics, and then didn't actually read it all the way.
Trailer number 2. Actually, it's like trailer 3 or 4. But trailer 3 or 4, new original character not from the comic books. Again, I'll say it. Invincible does not have a cast diverse enough to justify a fighting game. Everybody is fucking Superman.
Counterpoint, Tavin. Greatest fighting game of 2025, Garo, City of Wolves.
Okay.
A lot of new characters. And they have a large roster to draw from, but they went new and original. So why can't they?
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I was right.
For not yet. The game comes out.
All I was saying was that, hey, if like Invincible doesn't have the cast for this, and that's their solution to it, is to make up a cast for it, which is the right move.
Mm-hmm.
Orbitals is an anime-like co-op space adventure coming exclusively to Switch 2. The second closed beta test for Animo is coming early 2026. Diablo 4's Lord of Hatred expansion is coming on April 28th, 2026. You can play as their new Paladin class now.
It's a returning class, by the way, from like older Diablo games.
Very exciting. Diablo 4 is a good game.
Sure.
For the 15 hours I played.
Pretty good amount.
Yeah, but Diablo, Diablo has the type of fan base that they're like, oh, if you haven't played for like at hour 100, you're just getting into it.
Yeah.
Like for those fucking freaks. Anyways, Marvel Rivals Season 6 arrives on January 16, and Deadpool will be coming to the game. Deadpool actually annoyed the shit out of me in that trailer. Like, that trailer was not clever or funny. I was like, as I was watching, I was like, this is a bad trailer.
Mm-hmm.
But Marvel Rivals is fun, so hopefully Deadpool will be fun.
I don't care about that. I want to go play Rogue.
Dude, we're really getting close to the point to where we can go back to Marvel Rivals, and it's just a new game.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits of being in the space where we're constantly having to play new games. You can double back and have a Big shock.
But it also works against us
Of
because
course it does.
like that type of thing. Like you go to Destiny 2 and you're like, I don't. There's no onboarding. You know. Now Marvel Rivals, you don't need a lot of onboarding. There's one mode. You know. The 7 Deadly Sins Origin showed off co-op raid battles in a new gameplay trailer. Remember when Connor said there wasn't a lot of anime games? Hogwarts Legacy is free on the Epic Games Store until December 18th. Lords of the Fallen version 2.5, the last major update for the game, is out and now free. They also announced Lords of the Fallen 2, no?
A bit ago.
Oh, that was already announced.
Yeah, that was already announced.
It was just another. We didn't get any new information out of that trailer? Okay. Phasmophobia is coming to Switch 2. Neat. This confused you so hard when it happened, but I think it's because you were drunk and not thinking correctly. The new Total War game is Total War 4 Warhammer 40K.
I was just confused because Dawn of War is making a comeback, which is the traditional 40K, it's set in the 40K universe of a strategy game. So I was seeing this, and I'm like, you're doing another one? And this is like, I was confused. I didn't know if it was that or something new. It was something new.
Crossover.
But even then, I was still, not even a crossover, it's just a new
Total War is a different thing, isn't it?
Total War has had a Warhammer setting, but it's the fantasy setting. And they've been doing a lot with that over the last couple of years.
They're putting the Space Marines next to the dragons.
No, it's like, it seems to be different. Like, the grid itself is different. Like,
well, yeah, that's just game.
But all the Total War games still differ when you go to them, because there's a lot of different Total War games. It's a branding for a number of
Total War is different than Warhammer.
Yeah, they're just combined. I mean, yeah, but they've been able to make a Warhammer Total War game, and this is a Warhammer 40K Total War game.
I thought Warhammer was the fantasy thing, and then Warhammer 40K was the space thing.
It is.
So is Total War not a third separate thing?
I guess it is, yeah. Well, I guess Warhammer and Warhammer 40K are conjoined, but Total War, yeah, it's its own strategy. It's just a brand of strategy game that eventually they started doing a Warhammer Fantasy version of their game, and now they're branching out again into the space version, 40K.
I'm going to break this out into a TikTok. Hey, TikTok, explain to me what he just said, but in a way that I can understand.
Well, what are you confused about? Like whether they're separate? Because they are separate.
So then what is your confusion about Total War and Warhammer 40K combined?
I was thinking of Dawn of War, the other Warhammer 40K strategy game that's coming out, and I was surprised to see 2.
Okay, but Total War is a different IP.
They are, yeah. I was saying I was confused in the moment because I was like, was this just...
But Warhammer and Warhammer 40K, same IP, just different takes on the same IP.
Yeah, they're kind of connected in a way.
So Total War, a separate thing.
Yeah.
And then Warhammer 40K, a completely separate thing. And then we're doing crossover for money.
As they always kind of tend to do.
As it always is. That's the point of a crossover.
Total War, really. They just kind of...
Right. So there is no confusion.
That was confusing with drunk me in the moment, yes.
Okay, great.
That's what I was trying to explain my thought process when I was watching it. I'm like, huh?
Ace Combat 8, Wings of Thieves is coming in 2026. Looks dope.
People are happy about that.
Stop motion co-op game Out of Words is coming in 2026.
Oh, that looked interesting, yeah.
That game looked dope. I want to play that game.
Nice art style.
Phantom Blade Zero will be released on September 9th, 2026.
Already
I cannot tell you how angry I was that I did not put that in my predictions because it was in there. High Guard, this is the final thing where Jeff Keighley went, hey, guys, our final game. It's a big one, ladies and gentlemen. We are from Titanfall and Apex Legends devs. They've secretly in the background been developing a new game. Here it is. It's High Guard. It's a free-to-play PvP raid shooter. What is a raid shooter?
I don't know. And it was one of those things that came up. Is it bad looking? No. Is it generic looking? Yes. All of these things would have gone by the wayside like a lot of these other games did. It's the fact that you acted like it was the big thing. You put it at the very, very end, which traditionally they've never not had one of the biggest hits of a Game Awards ceremony be at the end. And it was just this.
Raid shooter game combines intense shooting action with objective-based raiding, often features tactical team play, base infiltration, resource gathering, and PvPvE elements, with recent notable examples including the upcoming High Guard and Arc Raiders.
But just fucking, you know what I'm about to do to you, Tavin?
Yeah?
I'm going to cancel you. He's reading.
It's the Google AI overview.
AI description.
What do you want?
Unless he actually knows what
Well, there's not going to be a fucking definition from dictionary.com about raid shooters, Connor.
That means it's pretty stupid to be like, hey, this is a raid shooter. It means nothing to most people. Even like extraction shooter is what it's saying it's also like, which is what Arc Raiders is. but that also seems like it could be a raid shooter as well.
What
Oh,
is...
shit. So raid shooters would be like Escape from Tarkov as well, where you're trying to escape.
That's an extraction shooter.
But I think raid games is like a bigger umbrella they're deciding to hammer home on.
Wow.
What is the difference? Raid? What is the difference between
This
a raid?
episode isn't long enough.
No, it's not.
In the context of the video game genre, a raid is as in match activity or game session within an extraction shooter, rather than a distinct genre itself. So we're taking the extraction shooter describes the overall game genre characterized by the following core. No. So we're taking a niche mode from a niche mode.
I think it's just one way to look at the same genre you're thinking of when you think of extraction shooter. Again, this is the wording of an article. How many other people call it raid game?
I see Enrique in the chat. Enrique, do you know the difference between a raid shooter and an extraction shooter? Is there a difference? Is it like the games are going to be like an hour long or like 15 minutes? Is that like the difference?
I don't even get in these kinds of games that much either.
I've never played in it. Well, unless you count the fucking, what is that game? The Division Dark Zone mode.
Probably,
as an extraction shooter.
The thing is, some people were calling this like Concord, the next Concord.
Paladins. I saw a lot of Paladins.
Paladins that were...
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be as bad as like Concord is. It's just going to be a game that comes out. It's free to play, which is, at least you're doing it right there. You're not making people pay for it. But and it could still kick off because it is made by a good team of developers.
Yeah.
It's just stylistically, character-wise, it seems more like Concord where it has no real strong identity.
Its visual identity is a problem.
Yeah.
Right? The only thing that makes me go, maybe is...
Like Ark, possibly.
Is like Ark, kind of.
He doesn't know either. You know what most people don't know.
I mean, Ark Raiders is an extraction shooter, right?
Well, and
they just call going into the field raiding.
Yeah, so that's why it's irrelevant to really hammer home.
But Ark Raiders is the same, not the same, but like is the same idea as like Escape from Tarkov.
Yeah. So there's no real difference.
But those are both extraction shooters. They just instead of deploying, they just call deploying raiding in Ark Raiders.
Seems like it. I mean, that's why I'm saying this is
so
kind of
what
like...
So what is a raid shooter?
Tavin, I can say right now, whatever the answer is irrelevant to like any other thing. I guarantee you, it is.
I just want to know. Also, the trailer looked like a hero shooter. It's a marketing mess. It's a marketing mess.
Hey, at least it's free, so people can hammer home what exactly this is when it comes out.
We spent too much money, and we put ourselves on a platform we don't want to be on. We're in front of too many eyes. Nobody wants to play our game.
You seemed like you were reading a blurb for a second there.
No, I'm just good at this shit.
Might be what they think.
I'm just good at this shit.
Shut up.
Fucking shit. Anyways, High Raiders. It looked fine. It looked quality. It looked like it could be a fun. It looked like it could be a fun time. Visual identity is the biggest problem here. It does look like Paladins, and that's a problem. But I saw some things that did remind me of Apex Legends. That did remind me of Titanfall 2. Getting on the horse, jumping off the horse, sliding under a door, shooting dudes in the head. Yeah, that looks like something that former Respawn devs would make, right? So I don't know. Sure, there's probably not a lot going on January 26th, so I'll jump in and play it. Why the fuck not?
Yeah. We did Concord. I paid for that shit. I'll do this.
I'm willing to place a bet right now. I think Concord. I think we will have viewed Concord as a better shooter than what Highguard is.
Not hard, but yeah, probably. They had some good characters.
It's not hard because Concord was a good game.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. Just, the perception was bad.
I like how you flipped what I just said. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that was the end of the Game Awards 2025. Full breakdown conversation. This is what we do here. Cultural conversations of how we can elevate the conversation around video games. And big cultural moments like the Game Awards, big cultural events like the Game Awards is our bread and butter. If you liked that, drop a comment down below in the... I've been talking for 3.5 hours, guys. The Game Awards. Drop a comment down below what you thought about the Game Awards. What were your most hype reveals? What were your most disappointing reveals? And what are you disappointed didn't show up at the Game Awards 2025? Let us know down in the comments below how you feel about the Claire Obscure Expedition 33 sweep and what the Game Awards could or should be doing better. And, of course, Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow us on social media for more content. Make sure you follow us on TikTok, on Substack. All of the links are in the description down below. And until next time, have a great time. And Connor, say goodbye to the people.
Late last night, it sounded like there was a rat in this vent.
Really?
Not even joking.
Was it probably just the heat?
Could have been.
Or maybe a rat just died in our event?
It was like scratching. It was like, and it's never heard that before.
Well, do you want to go look at it? Or
No. Go kick it through there. I'm going to go
Probably
searching for
dead
rats.
now.
I don't think it was a rat.
How long can a rat live without food?
More than a day.
Oh. Don't think it was a rat. So what else would it be?
Well, I mean, I don't want to go looking and seeing it.
Coward?
Go do it then.
Not my problem. It's your rat.
Our house. Apartment.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you heard a rat last night. I think.
I hope I didn't.
I think you were looking for a bit and you found one.
I literally heard something and I was like, the fuck is that? And I even thought about getting a ladder, but I was like, I'm fine. What a bit.
You got a pretty little mouth.